Beautiful shots you'll see here in Seattle tonight. Now let's check in with the third member of our broadcast team, Eric Perkins. Eric?
What Cedric Griffin has done is unprecedented. You know what? He blew out his ACL in the New Orleans Saints NFC Championship game, but he battled back and started last season only to have it happen again.
Thank you very much, Eric. We are set for football. As you see, Cedric Griffin, he's going to play about 4 or 5 plays tonight. And there is the starting quarterback, number 5, Donovan McNabb, who will get more work tonight than he did a week ago in Nashville. What are you looking for out of the Vikings tonight, Mike?
I think as you get into week 2, you want to see your starting unit led by Donovan McNabb get some continuity to it. I think you want to see your first-team defense tackle better. And then most important of all, you want to continue to evaluate all the young players. And there's certain key position battles tonight, Ari, that we'll talk about all night long, whether it's as a starter or a backup.
Here we go. Ryan Longwell kicks it deep. Golden Tate, we're about 7 yards deep in his end zone. He'll bring it out. Across the 10 and then thrown to the turf. Great special teams coverage there from the Vikings. Ryan D'Imperio amongst a gang of tacklers. And now we take a look at Tavares Jackson, a familiar face. The Vikings fan spent the first 5 years of his career with the Vikings and now getting a chance to be the starter in Seattle. He'll be familiar with the offense. The offense coordinator, Darrell Bevell, who is in the same role with the Vikings.
I think he's the kind of kid you want to root for. Never caused a problem, even with all the Brett Favre stuff. And he's the kind of guy, I hope he does well.
Out of the shotgun, 1st and 10. Tavares looking for Golden Tate. He had his hands on it, can't make the catch. Good looking throw to start the game for Tavares. And tonight's keys to the game are brought to you by GMC. Find your select Minnesota GMC dealers at gmcdealsmn.com. Mike?
You know, quarterback development, always a key. We know about Donovan. Tonight we're going to see Ponder go with the second group and then Joe Webb with the third group. The defense has to tackle better, especially the second and third levels. And finally, key positional battles, which we'll highlight all night long.
Marshawn Lynch in the game right now at tailback. They go play action, set it up, get it to the tight end. Big gain on the play, enough for a Seahawks first down. Gain of 11 on the play.
Little play action, tight end, Zach Miller, look at him, he's going to sneak out right there. Robinson loses contain. That's an easy throw and catch. And Zach Miller from Oakland, one of the free agents they signed on offense, along with Jackson, Sidney Rice, and left guard Robert Gallery.
And Zach Miller last year made it to the Pro Bowl, first time in his career. And Marshawn Lynch not much doing. Real stout up front from the Vikings there on first down, a gain of 1.
You know, the Tavares Jackson thing is interesting. 10-10 as a starter in Minnesota. 24 touchdown passes against 22 interceptions. Or you remember back like in 08 when they drafted him a year earlier. He had a huge game where he threw 4 touchdown passes against Arizona to help them clinch the title. Then he played poorly in the playoff game against the Eagles. And that kind of buried him, I think, at that point.
Yep. 2nd and 9.
Jumped.
Yep, some movement for Seattle. Moving back 5 yards.
Looked like the tight end Miller who just made the catch.
Number 86, 5-yard penalty.
Yep.
Still 2nd down.
So that'll back him up. It'll be 2nd and 14.
Keep in mind this week, Ari, Jared Allen in the lineup. They held him out last week. Kevin Williams also in the lineup. They held him out last week. Kevin Williams jumped there a little bit, didn't jump off.
Jackson's in trouble, but he breaks out of it, looking downfield. Now they'll just throw it away.
Jared Allen, who's got 83 career sacks in 7 games, came free off the edge. It's a bust. Watch him come right off the edge. It's a bust. You got to make this play. Tavares feels it. He's got good lower body strength to get away from him. And now, smart play by a veteran quarterback. Throw it away, man.
How about that, though? Those guys went against each other in practice so many times, and Jared must have been thinking, this is it. I've got him in my sights.
He either heard him or he smelled him. I'm not sure which.
So 3rd and long for the Seahawks. They struggled on 3rd down last year, just 35%. That was 22nd in the National Football League. And they dump it off. Forsett makes the catch, and then a couple of Vikings bring him down at the 20-yard line. So nice job by the Vikings defense in the opening series, and the Seahawks will be forced to punt.
Yeah, 3rd and long, you have two choices. You can either bring heat and hope to get rid of the football quickly, or you do what they did, which is play coverage, force a check down, and then rally up and tackle.
So John Ryan on to punt. Marcus Sherrills, who played well last week, will get the first chance in the punt return game.
Let me tell you something about this Sherrills kid. He's a corner from the University of Minnesota that nobody gave a shot to. And he is a competitive, feisty little kid now.
And he gets by the first guy. And the Seahawks bring him down just outside the 30-yard line. So 2.5 minutes gone by in the first quarter. When we return to Seattle, Donovan McNabb and the Vikings offense go to work.
That's what I'm talking about.
That is good stuff. Catch exclusive wired sound all season long at Vikings.com. 1st and 10. McNabb looks over the defense. Adrian Peterson, the ball carrier.
Wow. How about an inverted wishbone they come out in? We're going to run the football because 28 was upset he didn't get carries last week.
There is number 5, Donovan McNabb, last week. 6 of 11 for 40 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. The first string offense picked up a couple of first downs, and then that drive stalled a week ago when they couldn't convert on 3rd and 1.
But Ari, I like Leslie Frazier taking a couple vertical shots down the field. I thought Donovan was accurate. Some of those wideouts are going to have to start winning one-on-one on the edge.
Play action, McNabb gets hit from behind and sacked.
Boy, Raheem Brock came off the edge. And we talked about a busted play the last time. Same thing on this side. See what happens there? Tackle comes down. Brock comes clean. Clearly a miscommunications up front. Don't know if it was Charlie Johnson. It was a play action fake, so Peterson couldn't have gotten to that side. And Bill Musgrave cannot be happy with the lack of protection.
Raheem Brock coming off a career high 9 sacks. 3rd and long for the Vikings. McNabb, they set up the screen. It's Peterson, gets a block, looking for another. And Peterson will be brought down 7 yards shy of the first down, and the Vikings will be forced to punt.
I thought Phil Lodeholt might have even twitched a little bit there, but no offsides called, and then he lost the defensive end to the inside. Right tackle Lodeholt, good move to the inside, forces the ball out quickly. 3rd and long, tough situation, you rally up and tackle.
Chris Kluwe on to punt. Golden Tate deep for the Seahawks. Kluwe coming off the best season of his career, the Vikings special teams MVP.
You got room!
He punted it higher and shorter last year, Ari. That's why his net average was better.
Golden Tate brought down at the 24-yard line. Again, good special teams coverage. Jasper Brinkley in on the play. We take a break. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. It's time now for the Dodge Player Spotlight. Jared Allen, first 2 seasons with the Vikes, 14.5 sacks, and those 83 career sacks, all since 04 the most in the NFL.
And it's also the 3rd best all-time after 7 years, and it's behind 2 pretty good players, Ari, Reggie White and Derek Thomas. How about those names?
Those are Hall of Fame credentials right there. I'm sure he'd like to follow them to Canton.
If he stays healthy and continues on this pace, someday that's a realistic goal.
Marshawn Lynch, the tailback. Tavares Jackson on the opening drive was 2 for 4 for 14 yards. They go play action. Pressure is coming. Jackson scrambles out of it and shows that athleticism and out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Well, Jared Allen, as we were talking about, had a chance at the sack early in the game. And you look at some of his highlights. He really came on last year during the second half of the season. Got off to a bit of a slow start.
Kid from Idaho State, didn't go until the 4th round with Kansas City. Teams didn't think he was a quick twitch guy. He's so long and so quick. He's deadly. He also has a good feel for the pass game, and he's developed a repertoire of moves.
2nd and 6. Play action. Brinkley was coming, but they get rid of it to the tight end, Anthony McCoy. And McCoy has the first down. Gain of 8 on the play.
Second time they've run that play. Both have been effective. Watch Brinkley come through right here. But a nice job by Jackson getting rid of the football, Play action again. That's the second time today they've run play action with the tight end coming across the formation, and it's been completed for good yards. And notice, Ari, down here, Cedric Griffin started and took the first series. They've already got Marcus Sherrills in.
Keep it on the ground with Lynch, and E.J. Henderson in the backfield. Tackle for a loss.
That's called a windback block by the fullback. He tries to make the cutback. 3 different Vikings players all over. Really good job at the point of attack. And I think one of the things the Vikings really wanted to do tonight was dominate on both sides of the line of scrimmage. E.J. Henderson making a good tackle there for Puggage.
Jackson, all kinds of time. Now moving to his right, dumps it off. Short gain on the play. It's going to bring up 3rd and long.
And Ari, let's talk philosophically a little bit. If you're a Vikings fan, up until last year, they were always in the top 3 or 4 in run defense. Last year, it wasn't bad, but by Viking standards, I mean, when you're talking about being number 9 against the rush, 10 against the pass, 18 against points, that's not where they've been. Now, Fred Puggage, I think, will be a little more aggressive this year, but what he wants to see tonight is this team to dominate up front. He wants to see Fred Evans, Remy Adele, Kevin Williams physically beat their guys.
The Vikings offside. They had the blitz coming, and Coach Puggage told us they had a couple more blitzes in. They were going to be pretty vanilla tonight.
Yeah, that was Chad Greenway in the A gap. 3rd and 9, and they were bringing heat, trying to get the ball out of his hands early.
Officials having a conversation about this, so maybe they're not entirely sure that it was on the Vikings.
Pete Carroll, that guy has always got a football in his hands.
False start. Offense, over 17.
How about that?
5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
The 12 men here at CenturyLink Field, they don't agree with that call, but it'll back up the Seahawks.
Now, how are you defining the 12 man, the crowd or Pete?
The crowd, Pete, I'm sure should be included in that.
Pete's
because he's a cheerleader on the sidelines. All right, 3rd down, 14 yards to go. Seahawks 0 for 1 on 3rd down tonight.
I expect them to play a 2-deep zone and try and force the dump off, and you'll see probably draw, screen, something underneath here. And there's this draw.
Yep.
I mean, there's the screen, excuse me.
And incomplete. And the Seahawks will have to punt. John Ryan will come back on the field. Nice job by E.J. Henderson, Brian Robinson and company. That 2 straight series the defenses look solid, Mike.
And especially pressure on the quarterback. That's forced a couple of 3rd and long situations, and that time they actually rotated to a cover 1, which is a free safety in the middle, man underneath, and great job getting pressure and sniffing out that screen.
Marcus Sherrill is back deep again, the former Gopher. Played his high school ball in Rochester at John Marshall High School. Ryan gets off an ugly punt. Here's a chance for Sherrill.
Yeah.
Comes up to his 29. Across the 40, nice little move, gets to the 45-yard line. And now the ball comes out. Nope. They're saying he was down, no fumble.
Wow. And Chris Cook, by the way, did a great job with one of the wingmen, kicking him out wide and allowing a wide lane for Sherrills to jump into.
7:29 to go in the first quarter. Excellent field position for Donovan McNabb and the Vikings offense. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Seattle. While we were away, Pete Carroll elects to challenge the call. He thinks the ball came out before Sherrill's elbow hit the turf.
Carrying it very loosely. The strip is right there. The hand was down, but it's really difficult to say with any real determination that it was out before he hit the ground. There's the hit.
He leans it up forward. Boy, that's hard to tell.
And I'll tell you right now, the first guy that met him coming off the field was Mike Prefer, the special teams coach. And whether they say this is a fumble or not, they're not going to like this in tape. You can't let go of the football if you're going to be a punt returner.
And what you said on the replay, the way he was carrying the football, they're not going to be happy with.
You know, he tried to protect it once he got into a group of defenders, but again, look how loose it is there. Now he puts it away, and you better hold on because everybody's taught to strip that football, and it's loose. I can't tell whether the knee was down. It's not always the knee, remember. There could be an elbow down because the ground can't cause a fumble there either. But since the ruling on the field, Ari, was no fumble, there has to be conclusive evidence that there was to overturn it. And they have access to some replays that we don't.
So head coach Leslie Frazier looking on here concerned.
Look at Pete. Why is it taking so long, Pete? I'm with you, man. They have to go all the way to the tunnel because the other machine is broken, apparently.
After review of the play, the runner, in fact, fumbled the ball and was recovered cleanly by Seattle. It'll be Seattle's ball on the 46-yard line, 1st and 10. Seattle is not charged a team timeout.
The challenge is successful for the Seahawks. So Marcus Sherrills, that is a tough pill to swallow right there. He looked good on that first return, and that return was pretty good until the fumble.
No return is any good if it has the word fumble attached to it.
You're right. Tavares Jackson so far 4 for 6 for 25 yards. Great field position for the Seahawks. 1st and 10 at the Vikings 46.
Ari, this is a learning experience for this first team defense now. Sudden change. You lost it on a special teams play. Can you step up now and stop them? Because 2 first downs and they're in field goal range.
Lynch, the ball carrier. And he dives forward to pick up a couple of yards. Show your horns this season at Mall of America Field with a variety of ticket options to fit everyone's budget. Tickets are available for the Vikings home opener against the Bucs on September 18th. Visit Vikings.com for more information. And you see a spectacular view here at CenturyLink Field, and no stadium quite like this one here in Seattle. Beautiful view of the downtown.
What a great architectural feature. I know you'd like to see the seats if you're an owner, but what a great view of downtown.
2nd and 7. Jackson pump fake, set up the screen. Lynch has got it. And a nice job there, Brandon Burton, the 5th round pick out of Utah. And there is a flag on the play, but Burton came up there to make the open field tackle. These guys have been busy already.
Yeah, too busy.
Tripping. Offense, number 72. A 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Still 2nd down.
Several screen passes already. Ball to Marshawn Lynch. They're calling Robert Gallery, number 72, with the penalty there. I didn't see it. Gallery, one of the free agents signed from Oakland. Remember, Ari, a top 5 pick years ago as a tackle, was a quote bust as a tackle, but has been a very, very good interior player.
Jackson off his back foot, completes it to McCoy, and McCoy tackled right there. Chad Greenway with the tackle in the open field after a gain of 4.
You know, Greenway to me is one of the most athletic linebackers in the league. Watch him try to undercut the route right here. Comes underneath it, almost makes the play right there, but you can see how athletic a kid he is in space. And Ari, he was their defensive MVP a year ago, 149 tackles. This kid deserves Pro Bowl consideration if he has another year like he's had.
It kind of reminds me of the way we used to talk about E.J. Henderson getting a chance to go to the Pro Bowl, and then E.J. got his first chance to go to the Pro Bowl, and certainly Chad Greenway seems due. He has led the team in tackles now 3 straight years. Jackson, plenty of time to throw. Tate drops it, it's picked off. The Vikings in the clear. It's Sherrills, and he's going to make do on the fumble and take it for 6. Touchdown, Vikings. 63 yards.
What did we just say about sudden change and somebody stepping up and making a play? The same guy that handed the football away to Seattle on the tip drill. Okay, Golden Tate right there. Real good hit by the linebacker. Golden Tate drops the football. Sherrills takes it over. I think it was Brinkley that made the hit. But that was Golden Tate popping it up the air, and a great job by Sherrills.
That's great stuff. I mean, to be able to bounce back defensively on the very next series, redeem yourself, and get the first points of the night. Ryan Longwell on for the extra point. And the extra point is good, and the Vikings lead the Seahawks 7-0. And Marcus Sherrills, the former Gopher, quiets the crowd here in Seattle. He says, I'll take that little gift basket. And then he puts on the speed, and takes it for the touchdown.
An opportunity, and Golden Tate with the tip is another man's golden opportunity. Marcus Sherrills, the rookie free agent from the University of Minnesota. What a great story he is, and his coach, Joe Woods, who I think is one of the most dynamic young defensive back coaches in the league. How excited is he for his player?
Oh, that is good stuff. This drive summary is brought to you by the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, reminding parents to use booster seats for children ages 4 to 8.
And keep in mind, I said rookie. Technically, he was on the practice squad last year, and we can develop that story after the kick.
Doug Baldwin on the return, across the 20, and brought down at the 28-yard line. We take a break, 5:29 to go in the first quarter. Minnesota right now in front of the Seahawks, 7. It's time now for Making an Impact presented by the Minnesota Lottery. And how about Percy Harvin entering his 3rd season? And it's an understatement to say this guy's had an impact for the Vikings.
In every phase, Ari. I mean, they hand him the football out of different movements. They throw him the football. He's got 3 kickoff return touchdowns already in his career. So when you talk about making an impact, Percy Harvin, to me, might be the most dynamic young player in the league.
Jackson to throw on 1st down. Gets rid of it just in time. Lynch on the screen. He gets hit out of bounds, and here comes the flag. Late hit.
That might have been Ross Holman, the rookie 6th-round pick from Ohio State, but there were several Vikings chasing it.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit out of bounds, defense. The 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic 1st down.
You don't want to make anything when you're a rookie trying to make a ball club where you hustle your tail off, absolutely. But when he's out of bounds, let him go. And I know Ross Holman's trying to make an impression, and I've been there, and I get it, but you can't get flagged for a penalty.
Justin Forsett, the ball carrier. He tries to squirm through Everson Griffin with the tackle. Everson Griffin was our guy who was wired up last week. Talk about his development, Mike.
He's one of those guys that had he stayed at USC for his full tenure, he may have been a 1st or 2nd round pick. The Vikings got him in the 4th round pick. I think he's a steal. A kid that a year ago, Ari, may be a little young and immature. He's gotten bigger, stronger, faster. He's got to stay out of trouble. He's got to work hard, but he's a gifted kid.
Blitz is coming. Jackson's going for it all, looking for Sidney Rice. And that throw well out of bounds. No chance for Sidney Rice on the play. Go to Vikings.com/endzone to learn about great promotions, including the Miller Lite End Zone Party Deck. Find out how you can watch the Vikings from the coolest spot in the Dome. Brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer sponsor of the Vikings.
Now, Ari, I was disappointed last week in Chris Cook. I thought he and Asher Allen both had disappointing games. Love to see on the deep shot there that he did a great job getting in the receiver's hip and almost making a play on the football there.
3rd and 7, Leon Washington to the left of Tavares Jackson. Jackson's got to scramble. And they'll take off and pick up the 1st down. Great effort there from Tavares Jackson. Gain of 8 on the play.
The 2 defensive ends got good pressure there. Now, we already talked about the young man from USC, Everson Griffin, but Adrian Awasam also gets pressure. Jackson steps up inside Awasam right there, and all Vikings fans know that when he tucks it, he's pretty good. He knew where the 1st down marker was. Big play for Jackson and the Hawks.
1st and 10. Washington breaks 1 tackle, and Washington close to another 1st down. He picks up 9 yards on the play.
Aaron Henderson's got to make that tackle. Good job by Leon Washington running through it, but number 50, Aaron Henderson, has got to make this play. Watch the cutback right there. You got to make the tackle. He's in the hole.
Henderson led the Vikings a week ago with 10 tackles. 2nd and short. Flag on the play.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
John Moffitt, the rookie right guard. who I really like, third-round pick out of Wisconsin.
All right, once again, you want to go to the Vikings.com/endzone to learn about great promotions, including the Miller Lite End Zone Party Deck. Find out how you can watch the Vikings from the coolest spot in the Dome, brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer sponsor of the Minnesota Vikings.
A lot of key words in that read there. Beer, party deck, a lot of good things there.
Things that immediately...
Oh, good cut.
Oh, big
hit.
Oh, yeah. And that's Aaron Henderson. This is like the makeup first quarter. You miss something, you make up for it.
Leon Washington made an excellent cut to get up in the hole. Watch this thing close and watch the hit right there. Boom, from the inside out. Made a great cut inside of Brinkley. Watch the flash. There's the cut inside Brinkley. And what I love about the hit by Henderson is he followed through with his hips and his lower body. Big, big hit, man. And for a guy that wasn't drafted coming out of Maryland and starting alongside his brother, it's a pretty cool story.
Third and short. Jackson, play action. Incomplete. The pressure coming. Owasam coming from that left defensive end spot. And they've talked a lot about Adrian Owasam during camp. They've been real happy with this guy in camp.
And he better make that play because Zach Miller was wide open on that same play-action play they've used. So Owasam comes off the edge. Great job. That's why it's incomplete. But Zach Miller slides into the flat. Look at him. He's wide open. He might still be running. Ari, fourth down. Big play here in the game.
Ball at the Vikings 32-yard line. 4th and 1.
Pugic knows they're going for it. Jackson's still in the game. Don't want to jump off sides here. That's the first rule for the defense. Don't jump off sides.
Robinson, the fullback, force it to tailback. They give it to the fullback, Robinson. He breaks out of the pile all the way inside the 25. 1st and 10 coming up for the Seahawks.
By the way, Michael Robinson's a tough guy. He was a quarterback at Penn State. A quarterback. So here's a quarterback. Watch the run he makes. Unger gets pushed back by Fred Evans, but he keeps driving with his lower body. The Vikings pretty much thought he was down at the line of scrimmage. Great effort by Michael Robinson.
Gain of 8 on the play. 1st and 10.
Got to make a play here if you're a Vikings guy. Now this is cover 1. Single safety, man under.
Jackson going up over the top, looking for Rice. Almost picked off.
Mistral. Yeah.
We've been waiting to see Mistral Raymond. People have been raving about.
And he's the guy I highlighted before the snap. Because, and Donovan saw the same thing. Single high safety. Chris Cook is in coverage in the middle of the field. I don't know why he's not throwing it out here. To me, that's a wrong read. There's a free safety sitting in the middle of the field. Why throw it to your slot? Catch the football, Mistral. You got a big play there, man.
And Leslie Frazier was talking about his good ball skills. That was a quick look at Chris Cook. 2nd and 10. On the ground, Forsett. Forsett gets inside the 20, brought down at the 19, and will bring up a critical 3rd and 5.
And Brandon Burton's jogging off the field. I'm not sure if he had it looks to me like he has some kind of injury. Watch Burton coming in from corner at the very end of it. Crack motion, the handoff. Good job at the point of attack. Now, where are the linebackers? And right there on the right side of your screen.
Friendly fire right there. He got taken out by his own guy, LaTroy Guion. 3rd and 5. Seahawks 1 for 4 on 3rd down tonight. Jackson looking to his right. For the throw for Williams. It'll be 1st and goal for the Seahawks. Big target in the red zone. Mike Williams at 6'5".
And what a good throw by Jackson because Chris Cook was underneath. He threw it over Cook and in front of the deep guy. So there's the bunch. Big guy, Michael Williams. Look at Chris Cook. He's lurking underneath. The ball goes over Cook in front of the safety. Perfect throw by Tavares Jackson.
Red zone brought to you by the Minnesota Lottery. So 1st and goal at the 2. Well, make it about the 2.5.
There's a red challenge flag being thrown. We're going to have to take another look at that catch.
So earlier in the first quarter, Pete Carroll with a challenge, and the call was overturned, and the Seahawks got the football on a turnover from Marcus Sherrills.
Minnesota is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
And now Leslie Frazier wants to see if this is a completed pass to Mike Williams.
Michael Williams behind the corner in front of the safety. Here comes the football. You've got to possess it all the way through the ground, and you see it right there, and he's out of bounds with his legs. Now, remember the rule with the Calvin Johnson play a year ago. When you're going down to the ground, you've got to complete the catch through the process entirely to the ground.
You know, that ball got turned. You know, it ended up vertical to the ground before he fell.
The ball can turn, and you can still have control. But ultimately, when you go to the ground, you've got to control it through the catch. Now, they may say he's down by contact because of the Viking tackler. Different look. Sanford over the top. He's trying to strip it the entire time. They might rule it that it's a catch because he's down, there's contact made, and then the strip occurred late.
Already 12 plays on this drive for the Seahawks. They've gone 61 yards so far. Leslie Frazier going to have to be patient again. They have to go look up in the tunnel. That's where the camera is for them to look. And it's time now for Vikings Trivia, brought to you by the Minnesota State Fair. Don't miss the Great Minnesota Get-Together, August 25th to Labor Day. Name the two Vikings who were members of the original Seahawks team in 1976.
Wow, I think that's a hard one.
Very difficult. Now, last week they gave us, maybe because it was the first week of the preseason,
right?
We got one of the two guys. And this week, I don't even have a guess.
Did they specify players or coaches?
No.
Nah.
I like it when you're stumped. It doesn't happen all that
bothers
often.
me a little bit.
You look mildly irritated right now.
It bothers me a little bit that I can't come up with a name for you. 1976.
Well, you got some time. We're not going to tell anybody till the second half.
It's right up my alley from an age perspective.
All right, let's take a listen a little bit to Lorenzo Booker.
One time this way. One time this way. Yeah, hey. Bring it right here. Bring it right here. Hey, fellas. All we got is each other tonight. All we got is each other tonight. Go play. Have some damn fun. Don't worry about nothing else. Have some fun. RBs on three. 1, 2, 3. RBs. Hey, let's take our business, baby. Take that rock. You can lead driving. Let's go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Catch exclusive Wired Sound all season long at Vikings.com. And Mike, Lorenzo Booker a week ago led the team in both rushing and receiving, but he had that critical fumble. And I know at the end of the day for you, if you have a fumble, it kind of washes out everything else.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field stands. For Seattle, Minnesota is charged with a timeout.
And by the way, on that Wired for Sound, that was James Saxon, the running back coach, who was getting animated also. And I think the catch was a catch because even though you have to hold it through the ground, that's if you're not touched. I think because of the contact by the Viking safety, Jamarcus Sanford, he was down with possession.
So 12 seconds to go in the first quarter. First and goal, just outside the Vikings' 2-yard line. Justin Forsett is the tailback. Robinson the fullback. Rice in motion. Forsett looking for the end zone, that extra push. And it appears he does not get in. It's going to be just about half a foot outside. And that is the end of the first quarter. The only points, Marcus Sherrill's 64-yard interception return for the touchdown. And the Vikings lead 7-0.
And we're back in Seattle on the sidelines with Cedric Griffin, the cornerback. We touched on his unprecedented story coming back from not one but two torn ACLs. Cedric, you're back on the field tonight, man. How's it feel?
It feels good to be back out with my teammates. A lot of encouragement going on between me and my teammates. But it feels good to be out in Seattle. And it's just another practice for us, though, so it feels good.
Yeah, along the road of the toil of coming back, what was harder, the physical part or the emotional part?
It wasn't hard at all, to be honest with you, man. It was just, just going through the motions, and to do it 2 times in a row is kind of sad, but at the same time, this is football, so you got to bounce back and work hard again.
Cedric Griffin, he's back, guys.
Thanks, Eric. Great job by the Vikings defense, real stout, the goal line defense, and I believe that there was a little bit of a loss on the play.
Goal line defense, short yard is all about penetration. And that time, Everson Griffin knifed through with the penetration, made the cut tackle in the backfield, And Ari, they went from about the half-yard line back to the 2-yard line. Heck of a play, like you said, forcing a third down.
So 3rd and goal at the 2. Seahawks 2 for 6 on 3rd down. Vikings had a chance to end this drive. Mistral Raymond. See if they can stop him here. It's Forsett, and he does not get in.
Nice job. 3 consecutive run plays, Ari, right?
That's reminiscent of a few years ago, the Vikings run defense.
Over the right side, good get off by the defensive end, Awasum. Brinkley comes through from inside out. Both of the defensive tackles, Fred Evans, heavy involved from there. Nice job. That's team defense right there. Excellent job. Interesting to see what Pete Carroll's going to do here.
And 4th down, there's an injured Vikings player right now. They're taking a look at Ross Holman. A 15-play drive right now, and Holman, it's good news right there. Let's take a look at the Vikings schedule. Certainly a real challenger in the opener. You go to San Diego to take on Phillip Rivers and the Chargers, then home against a pretty good Buccaneer team, and certainly Detroit is much improved as well.
If I remember correctly, didn't Adrian Peterson's 296-yard game come against the San Diego Chargers the last time they played them?
And that one was at the Dome. All right, 4th and goal. The Seahawks are going for it.
You got to play action this, don't you? Heavy play action, let Tavares Jackson on the edge.
Sidney Rice in motion. Forsett has it, and he will not get in. Vikings defense. It was 1st and goal at the 2.5, and the Vikings defense says no thank you. It'll be Viking football.
Guyan, Fred Evans, Henderson. 4 times in a row. Great job up front. Look at the push they get from the defensive tackles. The push up front from inside out was the key. 7-0 Vikings in the 2nd quarter.
Vintage Vikings. What a player. Paul Krause with the Vikings from 1968 to 1979. He had 81 interceptions in his brilliant career, and he was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1998.
His ball skills were fabulous. Love to see Donovan throw one right here.
McNabb from the shotgun. Gets it out to Peterson, and he is stopped. Leroy Hill, very nice tackle against Peterson at the 2-yard line.
Yeah, anytime you get 28 one-on-one, you'd like to think he'd win that one, but the ball was just a little bit behind him, and he had to reach back, and that gave linebacker Leroy Hill an opportunity to make a tackle. Watch, if you hit him and let him keep running, he's got to turn a little bit. That squares him up and gives Hill an opportunity to make a play.
This is only the 5th offensive play of the night for the Vikings.
And how about them in gun empty out of their own end zone?
Blitz is coming. McNabb with time. And he completes it.
I love that. Who is it, Ari?
Yeah, it's your guy, Kyle Rudolph.
Well, I love the fact that they split him out, and you saw his hands there. The hands were phenomenal. So they take the tight end. He's the widest guy on the line of scrimmage, working against a corner. Now it's a basketball player. What a great opportunity to use that big body, shield the corner, reach down behind, and make a hands catch.
That's something right there.
Vikings fans are going to love that guy.
1st and 10, he said the hamstring felt great last week, and it was so good you just get some reps. McNabb.
There it
looking
is.
for Kleinsasser. He's got some room to work with. Looking for a block. Cuts it back across the 40. And brought down at the 43. Great downfield blocking. Sets up the big play for Kleinsasser.
Yeah, and what also set it up was pre-snap, Ari. They're in a heavy run look. Look at this. They're in the inverted wishbone look. Play action. He dumps it off. There's nobody within 15 yards of Kleinsasser. Great block down the field, as you mentioned, by Michael Jenkins, and Kleinsasser did the rest. Remember, Ari, this drive started inside their own 1-yard line. Really aggressive play calling by Musgrove.
Peterson sees a little daylight. Goes over the defender and brought down after a gain of 8 yards. Adrian Peterson in his 5th year out of Oklahoma.
Now you're seeing this offense get in sync a little bit. Play action, then you come back with the downhill run, little stutter and go by him. Look at the run, the balance. I really like how Bill Musgrave has called this series. They went empty, no back out of their own end zone, trusted Donovan to throw the football, and then the rookie, Kyle Rudolph, made the key catch.
Jenkins in motion. Peterson gets the first down and brought down at the Seahawks 45-yard line. 4 yards on the play for number 28.
And when number 28's your guy, one of the reasons I love this guy is last week he didn't get any carries, and he wasn't happy about it. And he made it known that he wanted some work. So here's one of the best football players in this entire league looking at a preseason game and saying, Coach, give me the ball. I love that. He's a warrior.
He certainly is. So fun to watch.
Tight bunch right in here.
The toss to Peterson. Blockers in front, and that is well played by the Seahawks. That's Leroy Hill. That's the second time that Hill's been able to bring down Peterson on this drive.
Yeah, Michael Jenkins, the wide receiver, missed his block. If he makes his block there, it's a big play because they go tight bunch. When you go tight bunch, they're going to block down, and then pull around. Tackle Charlie John. That looks really good right there, but look, the missed block right there by Michael Jenkins, and the rest of the play can't work. Ari, it looked really good as a setup.
It did, and Jenkins, that's one of the strengths of his play at wide receiver is blocking.
Yep.
But he missed it that time. 2nd and 10. McNabb taking a shot for Jenkins. He has the football inside the Seahawks 25. 20 yards on the play, McNabb to Jenkins.
And what did we talk about? Some of these wideouts have to start winning out on the edges in one-on-one situations. This is a big body guy working on Kelly Jenkins. What's he do? Jennings, excuse me. Use his hands a little bit, pushes them off. I don't care. Use the big body, get back inside, and make a catch. Good throw by Donovan because Jennings had his back to the quarterback.
1st and 10. Toby Gerhart now in at running back.
Rudolph in motion.
McNabb play action. And he completes this pass. Very close to another Vikings first down. It's a gain of 9 on the play.
Ari, do you feel a pulse to this offense now? A rhythm. This is the first group, okay? And what we're seeing now, Devin Aroma should do on the catch there. We've seen a bunch of Adrian Peterson in the run game. Here's Aroma should do. Only 41 catches in 3 years, working in man-to-man. Use the big body, push off Jennings. And what I liked, Ari, come back to the football.
McNabb on the night, 6 for 6 for 81 yards. 6 for 6. That is a heck of a start here for the veteran in his 13th year out of Syracuse. On the ground, it's Peterson. Looks to bounce it to the outside and defended nicely by the Seahawks. See if he had enough for the first down. He does. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Just what you were talking about, Mike, the momentum right now, you could sense it. The Vikings offense only 3 plays from scrimmage in the first quarter. They get it at
This possession started at the 2-yard line for Minnesota. Movement on the right side of this Vikings offensive line. When you're Phil Lodeholt, 6'8", 343, hard to hide.
Still first down.
Yeah, when you're 6'8", 343, once that starts leaning one way, it's going to keep going. And Phil had no chance on that one as he started leaning a little bit and got caught with the flag.
Do you really have to point and say, my bad? I mean, when you once again, you're that big, everybody saw it.
Exactly. It's an impressive drive by the Minnesota Vikings. Started this drive at their own 1-yard line, or maybe half-yard line. Here they are in the red zone.
McNabb out of the shotgun. Draw play. Peterson. Nowhere to run. Everybody in blue up front there to meet him. Junior Ciavie, the first.
Great penetration this time by the Seahawks defensive front, as you get 3 guys with a little twist up inside and a slant by one of the defensive linemen. Junior Ciavie does a great job of holding that point of attack and making that tackle on Adrian Peterson, along with a lot of other blue shirts.
Seahawks had a 15-play drive last possession. This is the 11th play of this Minnesota drive. High snap. McNabb brings it in. Tipped at the line of scrimmage by Alan Branch. Incomplete.
Well, it helps when you're 6'6" to get that big paw up in there. He didn't have much of a pass rush that time, Alan Branch, but that's what you're taught to do. If you don't get upfield, find the quarterback's vision, get your hand in the air, and try and swat it down. That's exactly what Alan Branch did that time. Great job by him.
And this Viking drive that it looked so smooth against the Seahawks a little bit earlier, now stalling. 3rd and long. Needing the 3-yard line for the first. Blitz coming. McNabb falls incomplete. No flags on the play. Jerron Johnson there on the coverage.
Yeah, nice coverage by Jerron Johnson. That was a hot read for Donovan McNabb, trying to get the ball to his tight end because he had that pressure coming by the Seahawks. That ball just a little bit too out in front of him, but good coverage by Johnson. One of those young rookies from Boise State.
36-yard field goal attempt by Ryan Longwell. One of the most accurate kickers in the history of the National Football League, and he puts it through. So that extends the lead. 10-0. Vikings on top of the Seahawks.
Next up, the rookie profile presented by Chrysler and Kyle Rudolph, the first tight end taken in the 2011 draft. And I know you're really excited about this young man's future.
Well, I love his hands. And look at the body type on him. And when you can do a lot of things by scheme, they split him out wide. The throw is behind, but look at him. That's the definition of pluck. When you can catch the football behind you like this and just pluck it out of the air at 6'5", 260 pounds, that's athletic ability and it's hands. And he's going to be a special player.
Terrific drive for the Vikings. 13 plays, 81 yards. And it ends with a 36-yard field goal from Ryan Longwell. Doug Baldwin on the return. And Baldwin's going to get hit prior to the 20, and the Vikings continue to do a nice job on special teams. There are flags, a couple of them here. 2 flags on the play.
Larry Dean from Valdosta with a real good hit there on special teams.
Clock stopped here with 6:28 to go in the first half. It appears it's going to go against the Seahawks as they're backing up.
Usually does. Return team. Block in the back, block below the waist.
Mike Prefer, the special teams coach right there we just saw. He should be pretty happy so far.
There are 2 fouls against Seattle on the return. Illegal block in the back, number 52. That penalty's declined. Holding, number 53. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down, Seattle.
That goes against the rookie Malcolm Smith out of the University of Southern California. We need to step away and pay some bills. 6:28 to go in the opening half. Vikings on top, 10-0.
Back in Seattle with the defense on the field, a former Vikings defensive lineman spent 4 years with the Vikes, Kenichi Adeza, until a devastating diagnosis derailed his career, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Your brother Thomas gave you a bone marrow transplant. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's a little over 2 years now since my bone marrow transplant. Everything is doing fine. I'm up in the 90th percentile now for it never coming back, so I'm really happy and excited that my health is, headed back in the right direction again.
And we should quickly mention that you are still wearing the purple, not for the Vikings now, but with the University of Washington. You're the strength and conditioning coach?
Correct. I'm one of them. Coach Sarkisian, when I retired, he brought me in, wanted to, to bring me a part of his staff, and, I welcomed it, and I've been there for roughly around 3 years now, trying to get, the young Huskies on the field, ready to go.
Back with his old mates tonight. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Eric. And he was back with his old mates. He walked into the hotel last time. People jumped out of their seats, so excited to see him doing well, and he had a big smile on his face. 1st and 10. On the reverse, it's Baldwin. And Baldwin gets hit after a gain of 8 yards.
Tyrell Johnson did a great job inside out there, Ari.
All right, let's listen to some sound from Lorenzo Booker.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, that's behind the 20. That's behind the 20.
He is fun.
You can tell behind the 20 is a goal for the kickoff team.
Yep. It's Washington and no place to go. Loses a little bit of yards there. It's going to set up, well, they're going to say no loss, no gain. So it's going to bring up 3rd down and short as we go under 5 minutes to go in the first half.
And you've got to be really impressed with the Vikings up front defense. Fred Pugich's guys last week I thought were a little loose up front. I think they're winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. Great goal line stand. There they had 2nd and 2, no gain, 3rd and short again. Matter of fact, they're going to give up and throw the football now.
They're just 2 for 7 on 3rd down tonight. Jackson from the shotgun blitz is coming.
Nice coverage.
And the pass is incomplete. Terrific coverage there. That's Marcus Sherrills.
That was what was known as cover 1, a free safety. Everybody else underneath is in pure man, and Sherrills did a great job. Remember, it was 3rd and 2, so you've got to have tight press man. Good hit. Again by Everson Griffin with pressure and great coverage.
John Ryan on to punt. Jamar Johnson back deep. Again, an ugly punt. Johnson a chance. He had a big return last week. This time stopped at the 37-yard line. So the Vikings with good field position.
Griffin coming off the edge. Great coverage in the back end. Big.
Show your horns this season at Mall of America Field with a variety of ticket options to fit everyone's budget. Tickets are available for all Vikings home games. Visit Vikings.com. Donovan McNabb, his night is done, Mike. 6 for 8, 81 yards. See a smile on his face. I think he should feel good, especially that last drive was terrific. And now it's Christian Ponder getting his chance to work with the second-team offense. Toby Gerhart is the tailback. And Ponder gives to Gerhart, and he's got some room to work with, as he picks up 6 yards on 1st down. And Mike, Christian Ponder last week worked with the 3rd-string guys. This time he gets a chance with the 2nd-string guys. And what did you make of his performance from last week?
Well, I felt he and Webb had very similar type games last week. They're both young, athletic quarterbacks. I think they're both much more comfortable outside the pocket, like any good young quarterback is. And I think they both are going to have to develop their in-pocket skill set.
Ponder, play action. Able to get rid of it. Dangerous play. Kind of shuffled it over there, looking for Toby Gerhart.
Yeah, Red Bryant almost went 40 yards with that one. You know, Christian's trying to make a play, and I get it, but that little flip there with a different color jersey, bad idea. Again, no protection. I understand you got rid of the football. That's good, but watch out, man.
Yeah, your offense coordinator doesn't appreciate that. All right, 3rd and 4. The Vikings 0 for 2 on 3rd down tonight. Ponder. Now he's going to scramble. And he'll throw on the run and complete it. Nice play there, and he gets it to Joaquin Iglesias.
Boy, I really loved, and again, what did I just talk about with Ponder? Much more comfortable outside the pocket. He's an athletic kid. Iglesias came on a drag pattern late. Comes out of the pocket. Eyes downfield, which is what I like. I like the fact that the eyes were downfield the entire time, and there's one of those young wideouts we talked about at the beginning of the night that needed to make some plays.
And I like how he hit him in stride. Turns into a 19-yard gain. 1st and 10. Iglesias in motion. Gerhart, the ball carrier, and just tries to bulldoze forward, and he gets to the Seahawk 35-yard line, a gain of 3.
Almost a fun. Ryan Cook got a little pushing battle, and look, they threw his helmet almost to the sideline. Ryan Cook had to go all the way to the sideline to pick a helmet up because the Seattle defender threw it. There should be a penalty there, and there are flags down. The refs weren't going to call it until they...
Defense, number 59. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic 1st down.
Aaron Curry, guilty of the penalty. Former first-round pick a couple seasons ago.
Curry and Cook were pushing. They weren't going to call anything until the helmet got ripped off and thrown away.
So 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Seattle already with 6 penalties for 49 yards. Looked like Seattle jumped. Free play here. Thrown up high but incomplete. He was looking for Devin Aromashadu.
Yeah, that ball was underthrown.
Offside. Defense, number 98. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Another Seattle penalty, and I really thought that time that Christian Ponder could have taken advantage of that and thrown it more towards the back of the end zone. Watch Aromashadu. He's got a half a step there. Lead him. If you're going to throw back shoulder, it's a line drive. It's either a line drive to the back shoulder or it's a lob up to the far corner. That was kind of in between both and poorly done.
1st and 5. Gerhardt hit in the backfield. Cam Chancellor came up from his safety spot to stuff the run play. We are now coming to the 2-minute warning, so we will take a break with this Vikings drive looking good. They will have 2nd down in the red zone when we come back to Seattle. Here we go. 2nd down inside the red zone. 6th play of the drive. The Vikings so far 47 yards on the drive. Rudolph in motion. Blitz is coming. Ponder. And tried to get it out in the flat to Jeff Dugan, unable to do so. And it's going to bring up 3rd down. Hope everyone's enjoying their Saturday night. We are having a great time in Seattle at CenturyLink Field. Ari Wolf alongside my friend and partner Mike Mayock upstairs, and downstairs Eric Perkins. And just a gorgeous night here in Seattle. Beautiful view of the downtown and this magnificent stadium. And now a big play coming up for the Vikings. 3rd and 6. Last drive was stopped in the red zone.
Get a real good pre-snap look if you're Ponder. Do you have press coverage on the outside?
Ponder steps up, and that ball is tipped, and that is incomplete. Almost picked off. And the Vikings will have Ryan Longwell come out and try another field goal. He's already connected from 36 yards.
From the pocket, crossing routes against man coverage. Pocket breaks down a little bit. Causes the disruption of the throw. And again, these young quarterbacks like clear, unimpeded vision, which for them, especially if they're good athletes, occurs out on the edge and not in the pocket.
34-yard attempt for Ryan Longwell. Louis sets it down. Kick has the distance, and it is good. And the Vikings extend their lead to 13-0. Mike, a very complete performance here in the first half. We saw a goal line stand. We saw a pick for 6. We saw Donovan McNabb execute the offense. A lot of things to build on so far here in the first half.
And what I liked, Ari, was in the first quarter, and I don't remember the exact number, but I think the Seahawks had run off 24 or 25 plays to the Vikings 3. Typically, you'd be losing the football game at that point. But I thought the Vikings hung in there, having a little fun on the sidelines. I thought they hung in. The interception, Ari, was a huge turnaround in this game. And then I thought the McNabb drive from the 1-foot line was beautiful.
It was nice. News and notes from around the league are brought to you by FanVision. Learn more at fanvision.com/Vikings. This number 5's got a big smile. Osi Umenyiora, arthroscopic surgery, out 4 to 6 weeks. Plaxico Burress will start tomorrow against the Bengals, and Cam Newton got his first start last night but could not get his team in the end zone. So Ryan Longwell to kick it. Doug Baldwin is deep for the Seahawks. Just 1 minute and 47 seconds to go till halftime. Baldwin. And Marcus Gerald to tackle at the 15-yard line. And again, Mike Pree for the special teams coach. These guys have been motivated on punt and kick coverage tonight.
Yeah, and Cord Parks was the first guy down the field, and he forced a disruption with the ball carrier. You'll see number 24 come down here right there forces the bounce. And once he has to bounce outside and slow down, now you can clean it up. Great job by Parks forcing the ball carrier. You can see he's talking to Parks saying, great job, son. He doesn't get the tackle, but he gets the credit for the tackle in the locker room.
1st and 10 for the Seahawks. Jackson in the shotgun. And Jackson slings it out. Sidney Rice makes the catch. Chris Cook with the tackle.
Now, Sidney Rice makes a catch here in his first action during the 2-minute drill. Kind of interesting decision by Sidney Rice and the Vikings and the Seahawks in the offseason.
2nd and short. Jackson. Pressure's coming from Awasam. Rice makes the catch, but a beautiful tackle. And guess who? Marcus Sherrill.
After he made that first punt return fumble, the kid has come up large. An interception for a touchdown. Tight coverage on a 3rd and 2. Broke it up. Great tackle in the open field against Sidney Rice. Right there, the cut. Getcha.
And the special teams tackle, which is as important as anything, Mike, if he wants to make the team.
And he's had a great day. I'm proud of the kid for hanging in there after that fumble, making plays. He caught my eye in training camp. And what I love about the kid, and remember, he's a local product from University of Minnesota, but he wasn't drafted. He probably wasn't even going to be a free agent. He went to a tryout camp the Vikings held, and they signed him off that. He worked his way on the practice squad for 1 game last year, and he's a quick, tough kid.
Jackson, and Rice drops it at the 30-yard line. Right now, really, the Seahawks want time more than anything. It would have been a short gain, and this stops the clock with 67 seconds to go till intermission.
Yeah, good little spin move by Adrian Awasam, playing the left defensive end position, spun inside and got in Tavares' face. And a lot of times, Ari, what happens is it's tough for the receiver when a defensive end gets between the quarterback and his vision point.
Seahawks have 2 timeouts to work with. 2nd and 10. Low snap. Jackson, a lot of time, and it gets knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Awasam. Yeah, we barely talked about him last week, but he has certainly flashed tonight.
Yeah, played for the Giants for a couple of years, 05, 06. Drifted out of the league. Then he was in the UFL. I like how he elevates right there on a twist stunt. Defensive end twisting with the tackle. If you can't get home, locate the quarterback and elevate.
3rd and 10. Jackson gets hit at his legs, but Forsett makes the catch, but not enough for the first down. Curious to see the Vikings will use a timeout.
You'd like to think they will, and they have. They're getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
The clock is continuing to tick, but I thought the Vikings signaled for a timeout.
I did too. It stopped at 38 seconds. I thought up closer to 47 or 48 seconds.
They're going to put time on the clock here, Mike.
They have to.
Yeah. They're going to put 46 on the clock.
I'll tell you what, Ari, that front 4, no matter who they are, has gotten consistent pressure this entire half.
Put 56 seconds on the game clock. 56.
56,
okay.
Wow.
That's good news for the Vikings.
Wow, he gave him a lot.
Yeah, and the Vikings have 1 timeout left, and it'll be an opportunity for Christian Ponder to run the 2-minute offense. All right, now it is time for our trivia answer. The question was not an easy one. What 2 Vikings were members of the original Seahawks team all the way back in 1976? Bob Lertsema, Benchwarmer Bob, and Sam McCullum, and both of us, neither of us win a prize.
Trust me, Lertsema is like a folk hero in Minnesota.
And that's brought to you by the Minnesota Get Together, August 25th through Labor Day. As Jamar Johnson, the fair catch. So an opportunity here with 48 seconds and 1 timeout.
I love the teaching opportunity here for young players, especially at the quarterback position. And Christian Ponder talking to Musgrave right there. Now, Bill Musgrave's job is to put him in a comfortable enough situation so that he can put his best foot forward and not come under pressure and throw an interception. So what you're basically telling the kid is no interception, no sacks. We're up 13-0, nothing crazy here. I'd love to see him on the edge roll out, give him an opportunity to have clear vision.
He hooked up nicely on a rollout last week to Kyle Rudolph.
Gerhardt in the backfield with him.
And Ponder, they're trying to set up the screen, and the Seahawks were not fooled.
See, most NFL teams, when they get in their 2-minute offense, they try to get a little check down or screen, or they call it a drive starter. Something that's easy to complete, picks up 6 or 8 yards, you hope. Because a lot of teams will play that prevent and drop off, you run screen under it.
Ponder so far 1 for 4 for 19 yards, but the 19-yard completion was a big one. It led to 3 points.
Trips to the field, 3 wide receivers wide.
Aroma should do in motion. He gives it to Gerhardt. And now all of a sudden the Vikings got pretty conservative here on 1st and 2nd down. I think they might be content to go to the locker room with a 13-0 lead.
Yeah, if they picked up 8 or 10 yards on screen pass, they would have been more aggressive. Now, the interesting thing is, who called the timeout here? Seattle?
I believe the Seahawks have used it. Yes, they have, and so they have 1 timeout left.
So it's 3rd and 7. Pete Carroll thinks, all right, we stop him here. I use my timeout, and we try to block a punter, return a punter, make a play.
One of the fun things we've had tonight is we've been getting some great sound from Lorenzo Booker, and let's take a listen to some of the stuff from Lorenzo tonight.
This weather is perfect. Perfect. You got another one in you?
Got another in me?
Hey, I'm just asking.
Nah, I got like a 60 this time.
60?
I got like a 60.
Hey, you had 60 last time. You just got to have some help.
3rd and 6. Ponder completes it to Gerhardt. And Gerhardt breaks the tackle and gets the first down.
Nice.
Great
job.
second effort.
Exactly, Ari. 2nd year back from Stanford. And, you know, Ari, he looked quicker to me in training camp this year. I think he came in better shape. I think he understood the rigors of being an NFL running back versus a college back. He's going to sneak out right over here. Good job by Ponder putting it in a place where he can catch and run. There's the broken tackle you referenced, Ari, and you get out of bounds because you're cognizant of the time remaining in the half.
And I love the balance that he was able to stay on his feet there. Ponder. And he throws that one away. And a flag comes in late.
Now, did the ball get past the line of scrimmage on the scramble? Because he was outside the tackle box. The second component is past the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul. Defense, number 97. Blow to the head of the quarterback. It's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's Jimmy Wilkerson. 9th-year man out of Oklahoma. Not a smart play from a veteran, hitting the quarterback when he didn't need to.
That's a bad play here. Now, you're going to watch Ponder leave the pocket, throws the football, and there it is right to the face. And if it hadn't been to the face, there wouldn't have been a call there. And there's a new rule this year where the refs are allowed to use common sense with a slap or a hit to the helmet, but clearly in that case, 15-yard penalty, 30 seconds left in the half.
Ponder to Rudolph. And Rudolph out of bounds. Malcolm Smith, nice play, was there step for step with Rudolph.
Here's the deal, Ari. At some point, Christian's got to make a throw down the field. All this stuff underneath is fine, but there's 24 seconds left in the half. You've got to get to at least the 32-yard line just to have an opportunity to kick a 50-yard field goal. So you're 18 yards away from the 32-yard line. You've got to make a throw or two down the field. You can't be afraid to rip it.
The Vikings have 1 timeout left. Ponder from the shotgun. Virtually the same play, and Rudolph out of bounds, only picks up another 3 yards on the play.
You got to rip it down the field. Be aggressive here. I mean, let's take a shot or two. Obviously, you don't want to throw an interception, and I understand that. But what a great teaching opportunity for Leslie Frazier, for Bill Musgrave, and for this rookie quarterback. Let's give him an opportunity to throw the football down the field and see if he can pack one in there.
3rd and 5. Ponder, all kinds of time, and he misses Gerhardt.
See, that pocket held up really well, and I thought he had an opportunity to throw the dig route. I think it was Jamar Johnson on the dig, but he went for the check down. I know you don't want to throw the interception, and I'd be the first one to criticize him if he did. So there's a fine line between being aggressive but being smart while you're aggressive.
Now, we are going to have news coming up at halftime, and then right when we come back, we're going to be joined by Vikings Vice President of Personnel, Rick Spielman. And we're going to break down some of the draft choices, some of the undrafted rookie free agents, and Mike and Rick together, you do not want to miss that as we get started in the second half. And here's Cluey and Golden Tate with the fair catch at the 18-yard line.
And Rick Spielman is really one of the best talent evaluators in the National Football League. I'm looking forward to him joining us. Look at this, Ari. See how they do this and this?
Yeah.
How many owners in the National Football League would say, well, let's take a bunch of seats out of that so we can see the skyline? But look how good that is. Instead of having it all filled in by all those seats, that's just a beautiful panoramic view of downtown, and it just enhances, I think, the spectator experience here at this stadium.
Well, you were here for the playoff game when the Seahawks beat the Saints, and this place was rocking. I mean, this is one of the great home field advantages in the entire league, and a lot of it's the stadium and the terrific engineering to keep the sound in here.
Yeah, and it's an outdoor stadium, but it's built with a concave roof, and it really does keep the sound in. And when Marshawn Lynch scored the clinching touchdown in that game, it was the loudest stadium I've ever been in my life.
Okay, 30 minutes complete, Mike. What do you take away from the first half?
I love the fact that the Vikings, even though they weren't getting snaps offensively, they hung in. They had a goal line stand. McNabb had a tremendously good offensive series from his own 1-yard line. The interception return, the whole thing, the whole package was really good, Ari, because as a team, special teams, offense, and defense, they hung in.
Good stuff in the first half. We are going to take a break. Local news is coming up, and then a reminder, we're going to keep tracking these position battles, and we'll hear from Rick Spielman when we come back to Seattle. Welcome back to CenturyLink Field in Seattle, Washington. Just about set for the start of the second half. A terrific first half for the Vikings. They lead 13-0. And as promised, we have a special guest joining us for the third quarter. But before we get to him, let's check in. Head coach Leslie Frazier is with Eric downstairs.
Leslie Frazier, you have to like what you saw in that first half. You were going to tighten up practice this week. You ramp things up. Things look a lot more polished this go-round.
Yeah, I mean, good job by our guys in the first half. We talked to them about, at halftime, finishing. We talked about certain things we wanted to be able to do in that first half, and we got a lot of things accomplished, but we want to be able to finish. So this second half, for the young guys that are playing, this is big because you got guys playing for jobs.
Pick six didn't hurt either.
No, that was nice to see by Marcus Sherrills, and be nice to get another one in the second half.
All right, guys, that's Leslie Frazier. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Coach. Now, as promised, the Vice President of Player Personnel, the one and only Rick Spielman, joins us each and every year during the preseason. And Rick, real solid play in a lot of phases for your team. What were your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, no, we got an opportunity to go out there, and we especially see us in certain situations that you can't see in practice. We saw our defense step up in that goal line and had a great goal line stand down there. We saw the offense get some red zone work. We only got 2 field goals out of that. But again, that's invaluable when you're going through the preseason, especially when we didn't have an off season to do a lot of that stuff.
Right.
That was great to see that this first half.
You know, Rick, I picked out 3 plays from the first half that you and I can take a look at right now that I thought were pretty important and showed a couple different things. Now, Marcus Sherrills drops a punt, right? But then he comes back on the tip-off Golden Tate and makes a play.
Yeah, and Marcus been doing that all training camp.
He's feisty, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just a very good football player, not big enough, not fast enough. Here you see Kyle Wheelock with a great adjust. You see that low and outside and made a great adjust.
And here's Christian outside the pocket. Joaquin Iglesias on the drag route. Christian looks good throwing the ball, especially outside the pocket.
And that's where the young guys are going to be most comfortable. Is they're not going to be too comfortable in the pocket right off the bat, but they're going to be comfortable outside. And he's shown the athletic skills you're looking for, not only last week, but so far in the first half.
And Rick, you brought in the veteran Donovan McNabb to be the quarterback for this team this year. And that drive that started back at the Vikings 1-yard line really showed that great leadership. And it looked like he looked like a pretty good fit for your team there on that drive.
Yeah, and it was great. You know, in the first quarter, we only had 3 plays on offense, and then in the second quarter to get backed up on the 1-yard line and to see him put a drive together. You've seen Michael Jenkins make a couple nice catches. Adrian got loose on a couple runs. So just to get that rhythm on offense that you're looking for.
The Seahawks to kick off here at the start of the third quarter. Lorenzo Booker will be back deep. And we have Lorenzo mic'd up tonight. We've got some great sound from him down on the field in the first half, and certainly we're hoping to get some more good stuff from Mr. Booker in the second half. And he flashed last week in Nashville. He's a guy who really gives you a nice change of pace back.
Yeah, and he did a great job last year when we signed him out of the UFL. He had a touchdown against the Giants that was canceled of a penalty, but he does have that return ability that you're looking for, especially in the third down back.
So Booker will get a chance from about the middle of the end zone. Across the 10, and then he is put to the turf at the 13-yard line. Game stats are provided by Verizon. Text NFL to 8915 to get NFL Mobile. Only from Verizon, the official wireless partner of the Minnesota Vikings. And there you see the passing yards.
Washington.
104 yards for the Vikings through the air, and then the total yards. Seattle a little bit better total yardage, but boy, it was really about that goal line stand, and the Sherrills play really seemed to shift the momentum in the first half.
It did, Ari, and I'm a little concerned, though, right now. We've got an injury on that kickoff. A Viking player is down. I watched him roll over and grab the leg.
I think he got hit in the back, or an illegal hit behind on that coverage.
Well, this is the thing that always scares you in the preseason, is when you get guys out there and they're playing so hard trying to make the team, and somebody gets an injury. Now that's number 58 there. That's Mark Henderson.
Marcus
Washington.
Oh, sorry about that. Mark Washington.
Second-year player. West Texas State?
Yeah, he was in San Francisco in and out a little bit last year. We brought him in as a guy to add depth and see if he can add depth. He has shown up very well on special teams so far, and also played some defense last week and played pretty good.
Well, we are going to take a break right now and hopefully get a good update on the injury to Mark Washington when we come back to Seattle. Ponder rolling out, and he's going to take off and run and get out of bounds at the 13. And we still have Vice President of Player Personnel Rick Spielman with us. He's going to be with us for the entire third quarter. And Rick, Christian Ponder in the game. You guys select him with the number 12 pick in the first round. Take us through the selection process and what you like about Christian.
Yeah, we knew we wanted to get a young quarterback out of this draft, and this was a good draft for young quarterbacks. And so we spent a lot of time traveling around the country with Leslie, with Bill Musgrave, our offensive coordinator, Craig Johnson, and Christian just stuck out on everything that we were looking for, not only from an athletic standpoint, but how smart he is, how mature he is, and felt that he's going to have a very successful career for us.
Toby Gerhardt breaks the tackle and gets to the 18-yard line, and the ball comes out.
Who was that?
That's Cooper.
Cooper, the center.
Yeah. Very rarely do they get a chance to run the ball.
It looked like 8-man football back in Oklahoma or Iowa or something. Gerhardt's got to hold the football here. I don't care if this is really a fumble or he's down by contact. You got to hold on to that football. Comes loose late.
Coop, nice hands.
Yeah.
We have to put him back in fullback.
Oh, very nice hands there.
He might be in that punt return rotation.
First and 10. Fake the toss to Gerhardt. Rudolph well covered, and Ponder's going to tuck it and run. And he'll pick up a couple yards on first down. And Mike talked a lot in the first half, Rick, about how these young quarterbacks seem a lot more comfortable when they get outside the pocket.
Yeah, and you know, the more they play, the more they'll get comfortable in the pocket, but they have to recognize blitzes. They got to recognize who the mic is. They got to recognize the coverages as the coverage change. When you get outside the pocket, they can rely more on just their athletic skills and the ability to throw the ball without really reading and thinking. But again, the more reps they get, these young quarterbacks, the more comfortable they're going to get in time.
The pocket awareness is such a difficult thing to learn at the next level.
Second and 6. Ponder with time, taking a shot, and that ball is caught. That is an outstanding catch. Yep, Aroma Shadu, fifth-year man out of Auburn.
And Rick, in this league, when you get one-on-one on the edge, like he's got right there, you've got to give your guy a chance to make a play. And an excellent adjustment, and then great hands by Aroma Shadu.
And you see the same thing in the first quarter with McNabb and Jenkins. McNabb did the same thing.
Yep.
So those receivers, those quarterbacks put the ball in a position where those receivers get paid to come up and make those type of plays.
And we talked about your guys on the edge have to start winning these one-on-one battles.
Iglesias in motion. Fake the reverse. Gerhardt. He bounces off a couple tacklers, still on his feet, and then gets across the Vikings' 45-yard line.
Rick, did Gerhardt come to camp this year in a little better shape, or a little bit more aware of being a professional football player?
He's had an excellent training camp, and he came back more comfortable. And you can see here his vision, his patience. He's running with a lower pad level than he did last year at this time.
Yep.
And he has great balance off contact, so he's getting a lot of extra yards off contact.
What I remember the most about his training camp last year was Toby took a couple of big hits from his teammates. Pat Williams said, "Welcome to the Minnesota Vikings."
That'll get your pad level lower real quick.
Here's the inverted wishbone again. Run set, cross motion.
Play action. Ponder this time moving to his left, and he'll tuck it and run again. Get out of bounds after a gain of 9.
Now, I thought he could have, and I'm asking for a lot here. He's coming out, and his first read is on the edge, but he had Joaquin Iglesias coming from the backside.
Again, when you're getting chased, though, and you're throwing, he's a right-handed quarterback coming to his left. That's a pretty difficult throw, but again, he's going to take the positive yard. So I'm not going to downgrade him for that because he got a 9-yard gain.
I agree with you. I'm just saying part of the maturation process, I think. And now, coach is putting him in a position of the things that's the third bootleg this half.
Yes.
So coach recognizes that. I want to see him
build the
a
confidence,
secondary receiver.
Slowly feed them.
Third and short. Ponder.
There you go. What we just talked about.
Iglesias makes the catch.
If you can see that replay again, that was a great job. He came off. His number one target was Rudolph there in the flat. But what he's doing now is as he's looking, you can see our crosser coming. That was Iglesias coming on the backside.
Exactly.
He made a great throw.
But that's the point.
Off-balance throw.
The point I just made from the last one. It's bootleg this time, but he did find the drag receiver.
Right. Again, repetition. Maturing as a quarterback right in front of your eyes there, Coach Mayock.
Nice job.
Lorenzo Booker now the tailback. And a flag comes in.
False start. Offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
You know, Rick, one of the guys I find interesting is the kid playing left tackle for you right now, DeMarcus Love, because I watched a ton of his tape, and I came to the conclusion I thought he had to be either a right tackle or a guard off the tape. And then I come to camp last week or the week before, and you were raving about his feet and his ability to play at left tackle.
And what you saw is a totally different player. As a junior, he was a very highly touted offensive tackle coming out of Arkansas. Last year, he had a down year and even didn't look very good in the Senior Bowl. Let's see what he does here.
Ponder going deep, looking for Booker, can't get to it. There is a flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
And that's what you want to see from Ponder, what you announced earlier, is he did come to his left that time,
Personal
looking,
foul.
but also take your shots down there if you got an opportunity.
Offense,
now,
number 62.
maybe not to a 5'7" running
15-yard
back down there.
Still first down.
With Booker.
But Rick, this is a learning experience. Baby steps.
Are you talking about my booth parents here?
All right, so the 15-yard penalty, face mask goes against the Vikings. They get backed up into their own territory.
You know, in the first half, we were pretty disciplined with not having a lot of penalties. Yep. You know, and Seattle kind of lost their composure a little bit there. But right now, with these young guys, you may see a little more than you did in the first half with our older vets in there.
And Rick, one of the things I absolutely love was the run defense in the goal line. It reminded me a couple years ago when the Vikings had the #1 run defense in the National Football League. And Seattle almost offsides there. It's Booker, and no place to go. Thrown for a loss in the backfield. Great penetration.
Maurice Fountain.
Yep.
They just picked him up this week.
So no chance for Booker there.
Missed block there.
Yep. It's,
Ryan D'Imperio was actually the fullback on that play, Rick.
Yeah, and he may have been trying to, as he's clearing there, someone kind of leaked through the line and trying to clean up and just too late.
D'Imperio was a linebacker at Rutgers, and you guys converted him to fullback.
Right. He played 4 years and started at middle linebacker for Rutgers. We drafted him last year late and then converted him to a fullback.
2nd and 35, Ponder. And that's it, complete. He felt pressure, was moving around a little bit in the pocket, and didn't get much on the throw.
Now, Rick, I felt like Maurice Fountain got an awful lot of pressure here on the quarterback. The running back struggled with the block, and watch him come off the edge right here, okay? He just runs over the running back.
Yeah, and that's, you know, part of that chip block would look like a little bit of a chip block, and Booker, for as small as he is, he just got to be a little bit more physical at that part. But the one thing during training camp, he's been very excellent at doing that.
All right, 3rd down, 35 yards to go. I don't know if they've got this in the playbook this early in the preseason.
Yeah, we just practiced this.
It's Booker. And Booker gets into Seahawk territory.
And that's fine.
Yep.
You pick up that kind of yardage on 3rd and 35, and you're happy because now you can punt the football, Rick, and hopefully get him down inside the 10.
And this is, again, you don't want to create or put a rookie or any quarterback in a situation where it's almost impossible to get a 3rd and 35. The defense is going to be sitting back. You don't want to create a turnover. Get the yardage you can get, then let your punter do what he gets paid to do.
Yeah, this is where Fred Puggett is yelling at Bill Musgrave to run draw.
Now let's see if Kluwe can capitalize and pin him inside the 20.
This is one of Chris's strengths in his game, is burying him inside the 20 on these angled punts. And great special teams again. That's Eric Frampton. We saw him do the exact same thing last week in Nashville. So outstanding in special teams. All right, 8:34 to go in the 3rd quarter. Don't go anymore. More with the football gurus, Rick Spielman and Mike Mayock, when we return to Seattle. Time for Vintage Vikings, and this guy familiar to Vikings fans all over the world. Chuck Foreman, the 1974 NFC Player of the Year and a 5-time Pro Bowler.
Chuck was a great running back for the Minnesota Vikings. A big back that had excellent moves and quickness, and he also caught the ball very well. I was a little younger than Mayock back then, so I didn't get a chance to actually evaluate him. But I know Mike had an opportunity to see him play and has the same admiration for Chuck as I do.
Great spin move that we saw right there. It ran with a good pad level, too, Spielman.
I'm hoping one of you guys is going to put a spin move on the other one here at some point. Charlie Whitehurst in the game at quarterback, and he gives the ball to Thomas Clayton, 3rd-year tailback out of Kansas State, who was signed back on August the 5th.
Great job by our nose tackle, Fred Evans, getting penetration upfield and closing down the line of scrimmage to make the play.
And he was one of the guys that Coach Frazier talked to us about earlier today, Mike, was that he really wanted Fred Evans to step up, and he needs him to be a part of that rotation at defensive tackle.
Fred has all the ability in the world, and you see flashes of greatness at times, and then he'll disappear at times. And what we've been trying to get, this is going into his 3rd year now with us, is that consistency, and we really need him to step up. And so far this training camp, he has shown all that.
And he just pushed the pocket right there too, and they almost got in a fight because he pushed it so hard. Mike Gibson, the backup center, went after him.
Nice throw and catch there, though. They pick up 9 yards. Whitehurst to Golden Tate.
Watch him right over the center here. Watch him push the pile. Real stout. Gets right back on 3-step drop right in the quarterback's face. Disrupts the timing.
That's what you ask those big guys to do. They're not going to do a quick swim move or some kind of finesse move to get upfield. They're going to have to rely on their strength and power.
3rd and 4. The Seahawks 2 for 9 on 3rd down tonight. That's Baldwin in motion. Whitehurst going to step up, deliver the football, and it is caught, and that is enough for a 1st down. Able to find Chris Durham, the rookie out of Georgia.
That was a great job by Everson Griffin coming off the edge, and there's another young guy that's going to have to step up and make plays for us. As you see the speed move, he's going to dip underneath the offensive tackle and come and get some pressure on a quarterback. Whitehurst did a great job getting the ball out of his hand.
Rick, I thought that Griffin in the first half looked much more active than he did a week ago.
And again, I think it's all these young guys. You see them come into their 2nd year. The other guys that stuck out to me, I thought Chris Cook played an excellent first half.
Better.
Yes. And we played him on Sidney Rice tonight, just to see how they matched up, that size versus size. But again, as these guys continue to mature and grow, those are the guys that are going to have to step up and replace the guys that you lose.
I thought that Cook and Sherrills both had excellent first halves, and after last week I made the comment I was a little bit disappointed with Asher Allen and Chris Cook.
Right.
And again, Cook comes back, plays well. Sherrills fighting for a roster spot. Ari, you're dying to get in.
Well, no, what I want to say is, and even maybe more importantly, big picture, great to see Cedric Griffin back out on the field for the Vikings.
Ced made a play in the first half too, and we put him in there for the first series.
First snap of the game.
Yeah, just to get his confidence going on his knee. But there'll be no issues there. I think he'll be ready to go by the time we open.
McCoy makes the catch. It's enough for a Seattle 1st down. Gain of 10 on the play.
Rick, it's fascinating to me what a quarterback-driven league this is. And you go out and get Donovan, you draft a 1st-round pick. You look at Seattle with Whitehurst. They gave up, what, a 2nd-rounder a few years ago to San Diego?
Or 2 seconds, possibly. I can't remember what that trade was, but I know it was a 2nd for sure.
You see Kevin Cobb, an all-pro corner, and Rogers Cromartie, plus another 2nd-round pick. And, I mean, if you don't have one of those guys, you're probably not a Super Bowl team. Is that a fair
No,
statement?
I would agree with you 100%. And you see all the teams that are consistently in the playoffs year in and year out. Those are the guys that have the quarterbacks, and those are the guys that continually gives your chance and your team an opportunity to win ball games, because at some time they're going to have to win a game for you. And those guys are the only ones on the field besides the center that's going to touch the ball every snap.
Second down, play action. Catch is made by the fullback and then forced out of bounds.
And I wish it was easy to find those guys, but they're few and far between.
And by the way, your first regular season game, you're going to face one of those guys in Philip Rivers.
He's a great quarterback. He wasn't a great athlete, and he matured in the second, third year, and all of a sudden he's up there. But the one thing he had the smarts and he had the accuracy, and those are the two things that I think that you can't coach.
Coach's son, I'm looking forward to watching that matchup with Donovan McNabb, who I thought had an excellent first half. Philip Rivers, it's going to be fun.
Third and short. Boyce to fullback, and he has a first down for Seattle, and now it's chicken to Eric, who's downstairs with number 5.
Here he is, Donovan McNabb. What do you think? How's your comfort level with this offense? You didn't have Percy tonight, you didn't have Asante, you didn't have Camarillo, but it didn't seem to matter much.
Well, I think with our offense, we have an ability to spread the ball around. Obviously, you want to get the run game established with Adrian as well as Toby, and get guys involved. I think we were able to spread around today. Our tight ends, our receivers got involved. Our running backs got some catches, and that was a good start for us. I mean, obviously the 3 and out, we want to get better in that. But I thought we sustained it on our long drive from the end zone, to the red zone area. So we want to make sure we come out with touchdowns instead of field goals. But I think it was overall a good start.
And backed up on the goal line like that, you marched it and you got the 3 out of it. That was a sweet drive.
Well, what we tried to do is we tried to establish a tempo. Obviously, with the 3 and out, we weren't able to do that. But going back out on our second drive, we were able to establish the tempo we needed in order to sustain the drive, move the chains, which led to points. But we know in a game, you're going to have drives like that. You got to be able to capitalize with touchdowns and try not to put your team in a bad position. But our defense did a wonderful job of getting us the ball in good field position.
All right, Donovan, thank you. The veteran doing what he does, guys.
Thank you very much, Eric. And Rick, when you guys discussed bringing in Donovan McNabb, he had such a great relationship with Coach Frazier, and he's a veteran guy. What did you guys see what happened in Washington that led you to believe he can come here and be the man?
Again, you can't always determine what that player is by the situation he's in, and it's not sometimes the organization's fault, it's not the player's fault, it's just not a good fit or a good match. But if you get the player in the right situation where he feels comfortable, where he likes coming to work every day, and the same thing the organization feels comfortable with that player, then maybe you got a chance to have some success. And we felt that when we brought Donovan McNabb into the program.
And Mike, you described it, I thought, perfectly. You thought for Donovan and the Vikings, it's a win-win because they both have so much to gain with this bringing in number 5 to be the quarterback.
Well, he's on a 1-year contract. He's playing for another contract next year somewhere in the league, whether it's Minnesota or elsewhere. And I think he's a little hurt by the Washington experience. And I like the fact, because I live in Philly, I saw this guy play a lot of good football. I like the fact he's got a little healthy chip on his shoulder about this year. By the way, Cord Parks just made a nice play on that last slant route.
Yeah, and Donovan, he brings that veteran leadership that you need, especially without the offseason and not being able to work with some of our young quarterbacks, even the Joe Webbs and the Christian Ponders of the world. So that kind of stabilized us when we were able to get a Donovan McNabb.
Good drive going right now for the Seahawks as they've been able to march the football down the field and see if the Vikings can come up with a stop here as it's 3rd down as the ball gets in just inside the red zone.
Wait. One of the big tackles, William Robinson, just rolled over Devin Torrance on the force there.
Blitz is coming. It's picked up. Baldwin makes the catch. Cord Parks with the tackle. It'll be 1st and goal.
Rick, a wide receiver stack there. Tough for a rookie corner, couple of young defensive backs because you're going to run some kind of in and out pick play. Take a look at the bottom of the screen. You're breaking off the vertical. Good separation.
Right, and those guys have to learn how to play off each other, and the guy that's getting picked has to give himself enough ability to get separation to get over the top.
Right, Cord Park late because of the basically the moving pick by the vertical receiver.
But you got a pretty good quarterback in there right now that's getting the ball out on time as well, which also helps that play.
Baldwin gets it to the 5-yard line where it'll be 2nd and goal. We now have 1 minute to go here in the third quarter, a quickly moving third quarter. This is the 15th play of the drive.
Rick, give me a name of an undrafted free agent that came into camp this year and has really opened some eyes.
I don't want to say that because then everybody will know our secret finds.
That's a good point.
It's a very good answer.
Let them figure it out.
Yeah. Clayton, and he is stopped. I mean, third goal, that's pretty good because if you got to, put him out there for a minute, you want any of those teams to snatch him off the waiver wire. Rick's keeping it close to the vest.
Here we go into the weak side. Good inside-out pursuit by the safety. Corner does a nice job taking on the lead blocker. Was that Torrance?
Yeah, and if you saw Jamarca Sanford take a good angle there, and then the rookie from Valdosta State, the Division II Defensive Player of the Year, has very good speed, and he's showing up not only on defense but on special teams as well.
He's an explosive kid. He's short but explosive.
Yes, yeah. He's not the biggest guy, but he has a natural instinct for the game.
All right, the third quarter is done. And how about this? Rick is having so much fun that he's decided to stick around. So there'll be more from Rick Spielman and Mike Mayock. The third quarter is done. And the Minnesota Vikings continue to pitch a shutout, leading 13-0. Beautiful evening. 3rd and goal for the Seahawks. They've already been stopped once inside the 5 back in the first half. Bad snap. Whitehurst scrambles. Throws, touchdown, Anthony McCoy.
Again, something similar that you saw last week, especially with a young crew in there. When a play breaks down and the quarterback gets outside the pocket, you got to have enough discipline to stay in the coverage you're in. And the young guys have a tendency to try to jump up and try to take the first sight of opposite color jersey they see.
It puts a ton of pressure on the defensive backs and the linebackers in coverage, and you can see the tight end McCoy just slips back there, wide open. And Rick, I think you said it a little bit. You said it the right way earlier in this drive. You've got a veteran quarterback in there with a lot of rookies, and he's making all the right decisions and getting the ball out on time.
Jeff Reed on for the extra point attempt. Kick is on the way, and it is good. So 14:54 to go in the fourth quarter, and the Vikings lead has been trimmed to 13-7. Breaking news, sports, and the latest weather. Or get the news by downloading it at KARE 11 app, or you can go to KARE 11 anytime. Is the television home of the Minnesota Vikings, and KARE 11 will get you all the information you need. Corey Wolf alongside Mike Mayock and Vice President of Player Personnel, Rick Spielman. And Rick, while we have a moment, I know all the Vikings fans want to get an update on what's going on with the new stadium for the team.
Yeah, I know we have a great site selected up in Arden Hills, and our ownership group actually was in town last week, and we took a bus tour up there. I know they're working hard with all those people up at Arden Hills and working with our state leaders. I know, there is a major sense of urgency that this needs to get done. We're out of a lease at the end of this year, so I don't know where we're going to play if we don't get a new stadium. It'll be interesting to see, though, if the governor will get a special session, if we'll be able to get that through. But there's 3 parts to it. There's our part. I know there's the local part, and then the state part. And the framework of the deal is in place. We just need to finish it.
Booker on the return. And Booker gets showing that speed. Good cut. Gets it out to the 25-yard line. 28 yards on the return. And we are going to take another break. Minnesota leads 13-7. Lots of time and lots of position battles to look at. 14:50 to go. Welcome back. Beginning of the fourth quarter, and Christian Ponder, his night is done. He finishes 6 for 11, 63 yards. Ari Wolf alongside Mike Mayock and Rick Spielman, the Vice President of Player Personnel for the Vikings. And Rick, give me your assessment of Christian's play tonight.
Yeah, again, you want to see, did he improve from what he did last week? You know that he has the athletic skills. You know he can throw on the move. When we get back and watch the tape, did he progress from when he's sitting back in the pocket? Is he being able to make all his reads and adjustments? The one thing, though, that you are seeing is he hasn't made any turnovers, and he's been very good at protecting the ball.
Joe Webb into the game. He gives the ball to Booker. So Joe Webb last week worked with the second team. This week working with the third team. And Joe Webb, such an interesting project because he was a dual threat quarterback in college. And then people weren't sure what he was going to do for you guys in the NFL, but you guys have decided to try to turn him into a quarterback in the NFL. Talk about his development.
Yeah, and Joe did a great job with his feet last week. There were a couple of times where you wish he would have just stayed and went through his progressions. But again, this is only his second year. I mean, when we brought him in, we drafted him as an athlete, thought he was going to be a receiver. And he got all 13 reps last year through training camp in the first part of the season. And at the end of the season, all of a sudden, he's starting for you. So he's made great progress from where he was a year ago.
By the way, Seth Olson on that play pulled out, did a nice job sealing and allowing the bounce by Booker. Watch the guard pull. There's the seal block. D'Imperio gets a block on the backer, and Booker read it correctly and bounced it outside.
And that's one of those things, those running backs, they don't need a lot. You just need to get a little piece of that guy. And that one hesitation on that defender, the running back more likely at this league is going to be off to the races.
1st and 10 for the Vikings.
I know if I was a defensive coordinator, I'd be scared to death if 14's taking snaps because of what he did with the Philadelphia Eagles last year and his athletic ability.
And, you know, it'll be one thing that you're going to see different this year is with the 46-man rule where 46 guys are active instead of the third quarterback rule. So that means Joe Webb's alive. That means Christian Ponder's alive. That means Donovan McNabb's alive. In the past, you couldn't bring a third quarterback in until the fourth quarter or else the other two were done for the day. So this enables, and I can't compliment enough what Bill Musgrave and that offensive staff and the schemes they're going to come up with and using Joe Webb not only as a quarterback but some different variations and have some special packages for him this year.
Joe Webb in the shotgun going up over the top. Jamar Johnson can't get to it.
Had a chance there.
Yeah, a little bit overthrown.
Tight window, but an opportunity there, a little bit overthrown. Again, past the corner, the free safety was not going to be able to get involved in the play. He's not going to get there.
I'm not so sure that DB didn't grab him a little bit going down the field.
Here you go, right here.
See if he got his hand on him.
That's Richard Sherman, their draft pick. He's reaching for him.
out of Stanford.
Yeah, he wanted to grab him.
Big, tall, physical corner.
Pete Carroll loves those long guys. He's got him. He's also got Brandon Browner, the first-year player who's 6'4".
3rd down. Blitz is coming. This is where Webb's great. And able to dump it off.
Nice job. Nice job by Burton, our rookie 7th-round draft pick. Came back to the ball when Joe was scrambling to make himself open. And Burton's had a nice little camp for him.
Your running back made a cut block, too, to give him a little bit of time. Look at right there, just enough so he can get outside. And like you said, Burton finds the hole, and Webb finds Burton.
All right, and then you see the size of Burton's, a 220-pound receiver that ran 4.4 coming out of college. And he has a lot of similar traits that maybe eventually he can grow into an H-back type back because of the athletic skill set he has, or be a big receiver.
And he showed a lot of strength there, Rick, to pick up the first down because there were 2 guys on him about 2 yards shy of the first down. And Joe Webb doesn't like what he sees, and he wants and gets a timeout. So a little more than 12 minutes to go in the 4th quarter of this second preseason game, and the Vikings continue to lead the Seahawks by a score of 13-7. For the largest selection of Vikings merchandise, visit the Vikings Locker Room store at Mall of America or Rosedale Center, or shop from home by visiting Vikings.com. We continue to be joined by Vice President of Player Personnel, Rick Spielman, up here in the booth with us. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Good-looking drive with Joe Webb at quarterback. And it's Booker, spins away from a tackler, and then brought down at the 43-yard line. K.J. Wright with the tackle, the rookie out of Mississippi State.
And Book, right there you see his quickness again and his vision and ability to make a spin move. But he's a totally different type of back than you see with Toby Gerhart or you see with Adrian Peterson. We're fortunate enough to have 3 different style of backs that keeps, I think, the defenses guessing.
Booker, 6 carries, 31 yards. Webb going deep, looking for Burton. He's got a step, but can't get to the football.
Cover 1, free safety in the middle of the field, pure man. I like the decision-making process there. Take a shot on the outside. All I'd like to see him do is let his guy have a chance to make a play.
And again, that comes, you see here Burton getting down the field a little bit. and the ball just slightly overthrown.
Right.
You want to give the receiver a chance to make a play, like you saw on the Ponder throw, you saw on the McNabb throw earlier. They put it there where it looks like the DB's going to make the play, but the receiver has just as much opportunity to go get the ball.
And you saw Sherman with his back to the quarterback, so advantage offense. Give your guy a chance to make a play.
Third down. Blitz is coming. It's picked up. And now Webb's going to scramble. And Webb's still on his feet. And they push the pile. First down, Vikings.
He took a shot from Jaron Johnson, the rookie from Boise, and just kind of ran him over.
And I don't think people realize how big Joe Webb is.
Right.
He's almost 6'3 and a half, 6'4", about 225 pounds. And he is just a great athlete when he's had the ball in his hands and when he's running right here.
How about did he sense the pressure from behind?
Right. And, DeMarcus Love lost his guy a little bit there, but he felt the pressure. And, Rick, you just talk about, I keep looking at this kid and going, A, I love the development, but B, once you get in the regular season, there's got to be a Joe Webb package at quarterback.
He's too good of an athlete not to have on the field for you on Sundays.
Yep.
Booker looking to get to the outside.
Get it upfield.
Had to block there, didn't he? Right?
Yeah, those running backs, as they get out there in that open field, you got to read what the receiver's doing and try to make a cut, because that running back can help the receiver make a better block.
Dominique Johnson's out here, right here on the edge, right there. If he takes this to inside, he's got a chance, right?
Yeah, but he's seen some. I can see
from the inside out, right?
The color flowing to him in pursuit.
Yep.
10th play of the drive for the Vikings. 2nd and 5. Webb looks, dumps it off to Booker. Booker loses the football and it goes out of bounds.
There's something that you didn't see Joe Webb do as much last week. He
eyes down the field.
In the pocket, went through his progression, didn't see his guy down there in his first read, came to the underneath route and hit Booker on a shallow crossing route.
Exactly what you're talking about here. Progression. What I love is slide, move, but the eyes stay down the field.
Right.
Because what happens with young quarterbacks a lot, when they begin to slide and move, their eyes come down and they're just looking to get out.
And they start looking at the rush instead of what's going on downfield.
Exactly. Yep.
3rd down, 4 yards to go.
They did not reset the play clock, so they started it up again.
Yep.
Webb pump fake, throws, ball is caught, and then knocked out the backside of the end zone. It'll be Seahawks football.
Everything good, but secure the ball after the catch.
Emmanuel Arsenault.
Yep.
Yep.
The kid we talked about at the top of the show from the CFL, 130 catches in 2 years. Rick, everything you want to see there. The quarterback makes a play, Arsenault makes a play, but a heck of a job stripping the football at the end of the play.
Look, he does a nice job settling between the zones. Now secure the ball. Look at it, it's away from its body. You have to know that people are pursuing at you, and they're going to be trying to strip the ball.
Who got that, Ari? Right there. And it's clearly before he got in the end zone, so it's a touchback in Seattle's football. You get that look from the head coach.
Yeah,
that's not fun.
Not a good look from Coach Frazier. We'll be right back. Number 16, Manny Arsenault is probably going to bother him for a long time. Made a great play, but then the ball knocked out from behind, and there's the wide receiver coach, George Stewart, doing a little coaching, a teaching moment.
And George Stewart's, to me, one of the best receiver coaches in the NFL. And he knows the kid made a mistake, but he's not jumping down his throat. He's encouraging the kid. All these young kids are fighting for that last 1 or 2 receiver spots on the back end.
That ball is caught by Durham. And, that really seems to be Coach Frazier's philosophy is positive reinforcement. I mean, he doesn't ever seem to want to go negative. He never wants to scream and yell at guys, and he treats the guys with respect. And it seems that this team is already really responding to Coach Frazier's leadership.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's done a great job through training camp. And our team, you can tell the difference in attitude once they walk through the door.
Whitehurst gets it out to the fullback, and it'll be a first down for the Seahawks. And let's check in with Eric, who's with Christian Ponder.
Guys, the rookie got a good look in there tonight. What did you think? How's the adjustment from week 1 to week 2 as far as picking up the speed of the game?
I thought it was good. I got some good reps with the twos, and I'm pretty sure they still had the one defense out there. So it was good. I thought I made some plays. Could have made some more plays, but I had fun. It was good.
You seem effective when you get out of the pocket sometimes.
Yeah, I do. And they were giving us nakeds all day. We were getting out on the edge with the boots, and either guys were there or the sea was wide open to run, and so it was pretty effective tonight.
Still a lot of the underneath passes, not too much vertical. Will we see that in the weeks to come?
I think so. I think we got a lot of playmakers to get the ball downfield. They're not really giving us much right now, but we'll get it down.
All right, Christian Ponder, another effective night. Good luck in week 3. Bye. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Eric. All right, second down. Vitala now the tailback. Rookie out of Nevada. And he picks up the first down for Seattle. Let's take a look at Mr. Ponder's evening.
That's the throw I liked in the first half, finding the receiver from the backside. He leads Gerhardt so he can run, doesn't have to come back for the football. And again, Rick, when he needs to, much more athletic kid than you realize. There he is rolling to his right, back again to the backside receiver. Really good night, I felt like, outside the tackle box.
Yeah, and I think I can't emphasize enough the young quarterbacks.
Cord Parks. Hello.
On Chris Durham, the fourth-round pick from Seattle.
Great read on the smoke screen.
Man.
But
define smoke screen. Everybody's block and run.
Yep, everybody's block and run, and you're trying to get the ball out to the receiver as quickly as you can. And you can see the receiver that was lined up out wide is trying to get a block in that corner, so the guy catching the ball can get up his field as quickly as he can.
And that's a huge play for Cord Park in his career. You got to flash.
You know, all these young guys, not only are they trying to battle for 53-man spots, but they're battling for the practice squad too. And we get to keep 8 guys on practice squad. We'll make comparisons between who we have on our roster to all the other NFL rosters. So we're excited to not only look at our 53, but our practice squad.
Go to Vikings.com/endzone to learn about great promotions, including the Miller Lite End Zone Party Deck. Find out how you can watch the Vikings from the coolest spot in the Dome. Brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer sponsor of the Minnesota Vikings.
And Rick, you were at 90 players this year because of the lockout, and I think it's going to 80 instead of 75 on August 30th?
Yeah, they made an adjustment. We usually go down to 75, but I think this year with everything on the way it's going, we're going to go down to 80. Big time hit.
Yeah, Whitehurst took a severe blow.
From that kid, the Division II Player of the Year again. I don't know if he's flashed at all because our GM up here won't tell us. But watch the hit after the ball comes out. Larry Dean, 51, ball out, bang. And what I liked about it, you see him lay off?
It was a smart hit. He didn't go to the quarterback's head.
And he
led
didn't wrap.
with his shoulder.
He didn't
wrap, and he pulled off after the contact.
Yeah, I think most rookies would be so excited to put on a big hit, I think they could get in trouble there.
Lorenzo Booker is back deep.
The Australian rules football kick.
And a fair catch. Well,
they're all doing it.
Rick Spielman, thank you so much. We had a great time. Rick's going to join us again in week 4 of the preseason. But well, there is a penalty. Hold on, Rick. You got to stick around a few more seconds, buddy. See what our lives are like. You're about to go, and we just pull you right back.
Rick, thank you so much. It's always my favorite quarter when you join us, so thanks, pal.
Well, it's a quarter and a half, so I'm going to get some of your play tonight.
Well, it felt like a quarter with the amount of content you gave us.
It felt like a game with the amount of content. I just saw Ellie in there trying to be a little bit of a color guy.
Replay 4th down.
Good stuff. All right, they're going to have to, after the penalty, we're going to have a re-kick. It's going to go against the Seahawks. So, Rick, you get a chance to go back to the Dome next week, and especially considering the way things were at the end of last season, I'm sure for everybody in the Vikings organization, looking forward to getting back in there and having the Dome good as new and ready to go.
Yeah, it would be exciting to see. I haven't had an opportunity to see it since the roof went up, and, they put the new field turf in, so kind of excited to see that. I think we're going to try to get a walkthrough down there just so our players can get a feel for the new turf and everything. And I know it'll be a lot more exciting a couple years down the road when we're going to be walking through and looking at a new stadium.
That'll be sweet. That game next week is Saturday night at 7 o'clock local time in the Twin Cities. Booker does not want the fair catch, and this ball goes into the end zone.
Much better job than he did last week where he caught the ball on the 4-yard line. This time he stayed at the 10 and let it go in the end zone.
This time it's a real goodbye. Thanks again, Rick Spill. We enjoyed it. All right, 5:56 to go on this one. We'll see if the Vikings can hold on for the win. Now for Making an Impact, presented by the Minnesota Lottery. And to say that Adrian Peterson's had an impact, that's just the numbers from last year, off to one of the best starts by a running back in the history of the National Football League. Guy's got such presence, such toughness. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Webb on a rollout. D'Imperio makes the catch. I like the touch on the pass from Joe Webb. And let's take a look at some highlights from Adrian Peterson.
Look, this guy has 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. When you're talking about non-quarterbacks in the NFL, who are the best positional players in the league, he's right at the top of the list. He and Chris Johnson at the running back position. His tape at Oklahoma was outstanding. What I love about him is, he's 220 pounds and he runs 4.4, but he's one of the toughest warriors at any position I've ever seen play this game.
Robinson now the ball carrier, and he picks up a first down for the Vikings. Vikings led at the half 13-0. Just to recap the scoring, the only touchdown for the Vikings, Marcus Sherrills, the former Gopher, 64-yard interception return for the touchdown, and Ryan Longwell has chipped in a couple of field goals. The Seahawks did not score until the second half. Anthony McCoy, the tight end, got a touchdown, and that's the scoring so far as the Vikes lead 13-7.
And I think you can say that when the first teams were in for the Seahawks and for the Vikings, it was a Vikings night all the way.
I agree with you, Mike.
I think they dominated the line of scrimmage, which was one of their goals coming in.
Webb to throw.
Out and up.
Pump fake, and then he does the smart thing and just gets rid of it.
Yeah, Stephen Burton ran an out and up route, and I think Webb did the right thing. It was good coverage. Nothing was there. Come back and fight on another down.
Here's the new offensive coordinator, Bill Musgrave. He came to the Vikings from the Atlanta Falcons, where he was responsible as the quarterbacks coach for the development of Matt Ryan, one of the great young quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job in Atlanta. I really like his quiet confidence with these guys. I think he does a really nice job, and they really trust him. Fumbled snap.
Fumbled center quarterback exchange, recovered by the Vikings. The Vikings created a $10,000 academic scholarship open to all incoming freshmen at the University of North Dakota. Go to Vikings.com/UND to apply.
It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
You and I wouldn't have qualified for that.
Don't know. Though I'm not sure what the qualifications, but...
Well, if it had anything to do with GPA and or board scores...
We were in trouble?
Yes.
3rd down, 3rd and long. Webb's going to scramble. Still looking downfield. And now he'll throw, and it's incomplete. Arsenault wanted a flag. He won't get one, and the Vikes will be forced to punt with 3:57 to go in the 4th quarter.
Ron Parker, the rookie from Newbury, made an aggressive play on the football. Could have been interference. But you can tell every time. I mean, Joe Webb wants to kind of duck, get in, get out, slide, but get outside the tackle box where his vision is better and his confidence is higher.
There you see the offense coordinator talking with his second-year quarterback, Chris Cluey, on for his 4th punt of the night. And more terrific special teams, and that's Tony Carter. So Tony Carter comes in to make the tackle, and we take a break. 3:49 to go in the 4th quarter, and here's a look at Carter. Working hard on special teams, goes out of bounds, comes back into the play, and makes a terrific special teams tackle. Go to KARE11.com for breaking news, sports, and the latest weather, or get news on the go by downloading the KARE11 app. KARE11 is the television home of the Minnesota Vikings. See, Viking fans out here make the trip to the Pacific Northwest.
It's a pretty cool city, isn't it?
Oh, it's great. It's one of the, we were talking about when you're in our line of work, a lot of times it's Airport, hotel, stadium, stadium, hotel, airport. But when you come to Seattle, it's such a beautiful city, you really want to get out and do some things.
Yeah, I was working this afternoon. You were at some pier eating oysters or something.
Got to get out and enjoy it a little bit, Mike. You work too hard. That's Clayton, the ball carrier. Good hard running. A little more than 10 yards. It'll be a Seahawk first down. The game's still hanging in the balance. Seahawks trailing by 6. They have all 3 timeouts and 3.5 minutes to work with.
A physical run by Clayton. Ryan Hill brought him down. And again, you're looking at situational football, Ari. All kinds of teaching lessons. Seattle down 6. What are the Vikings doing defensively? Field goal can't beat you. Touchdown can. You still have to play aggressive.
Clayton again. And he stumbles forward to the 40. And let's check in with Eric.
Great progress from week 1 to week 2, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I think we came out with a better energy level, and we executed pretty good.
That goal line stand was terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. I was proud of our young guys. You know what? They got into a bad position, and they stood up and did what they had to do.
They had a reopening of the Metrodome today, a big ceremony down there. Are you guys excited to get back there?
To the Metrodome? No, we need a new facility. That was the worst stadium in the NFL. But no, we're excited to get back home and play in front of our fans. I know fans have been waiting for us to get home. 2 weeks on the road, so get that all-important third preseason game underway, and then and move on from there.
All right, thanks, Jared. You hear that, lawmakers? You got it done. Jared says so.
Yeah. Wow, Jared.
I want to know what Jared really thinks about the Metrodome.
Yeah, it seems he always holds back how he really feels about things. Well, look at this stadium.
Fun.
That's fun. Vikings fans are hoping for a spectacular stadium, but one of the character and people back in Minnesota. This place perfect though for Seattle.
This is where you want one of those young guys to make a play. Close the game out. Finish like Leslie Frazier talked about at halftime.
Whitehurst looking for Durham, and Durham had no idea the football was thrown to him, but it's incomplete. And it's going to be 4th down. And I'd imagine Pete Carroll will keep his offense on the field. 4th and 6. Chance here for the Vikings. They come up with a stop. Now the Seahawks still do have 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warnings. They would have a chance to get the ball back if they don't convert here on 4th down.
And pretty good coverage by Tony Carter that time on Chris Durham, the rookie, who's already made several catches. Big play, 4th down.
Whitehurst throws, and that is incomplete. Durham, the intended target. It'll be Vikings football.
Carter again on the coverage. 4th and 5 situation. Real good job on the breakup. Frazier happy. Vikings 13-7, 2:24 remaining. 4th and 6. Tony Carter pictured right there in the middle of your screen in man-to-man coverage against 4th-round draft pick Chris Durham. Aggressive. Hands on him, holding him there a little bit. Could you make the case that that's pass interference? Yes, you could. However, the flag wasn't thrown. The play was made. And Ari, what did we talk about? Who's going to step up and make a play? Tony Carter did.
1st and 10 for the Vikings. Joe Webb, the quarterback. Robinson, the ball carrier. Got a good block on the outside. Reisner, the tight end out of Iowa, pretty good block. Picking up 4 yards on the play there for Robinson.
Yeah, Reisner and Love. Down, and Love comes around. Good job by Reisner right there. Love got the block inside, and that's what you want. Good job at the point of attack. And Reisner, very quietly, an undrafted free agent from Iowa, has had an excellent camp.
The Seahawks used the first of their 3 timeouts here with 2 minutes and 17 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. So obviously Pete Carroll playing to win here, even though it's the preseason.
You should. It's situational football. I mean, every day in practice, every team in the league has something called Special Cat. Special Cat is special category. And special categories mean this type of thing. 2-minute drill. You're up 6 or you're down 6. How do you react? How do you make plays?
Webb tries to draw the Seahawks off sides. Tristan Davis cuts it back. Couple of nice cuts. And look at him go inside the 10, the 5. Touchdown Vikings. 35 yards. Tristan Davis.
That play was almost disrupted in the backfield. They barely got the handoff to him. The first-year player out of Auburn finishes 5'10", 212, and who likes it? Yeah. Papa Peterson liked that one.
He sure did.
Look, they almost get the penetration. I love the cutback right here. There was a hold by one of the Vikings receivers. It's not called. Tristan Davis, wow, nice cutback, and again, young guys making plays. That's called a flash play.
Extra point on the way, and it is good. And Mike, what is so great for this team, I mean, they've got a long night ahead of them. They're still traveling back to the Twin Cities to finish the game like that and take that kind of confidence and the camaraderie that'll be gained for being on the road together. That's good stuff right there for the team.
And what did Coach Frazier say at halftime? Good blocks at the point of attack. D'Imperio, the fullback, he's got a phalanx of players out in front of him. Nice cutback all the way. But what did Coach Frazier tell us at halftime? He said, I want us to finish. We need to finish. What I saw from this team today was in the first half, the first team dominated the line of scrimmage. They hung in there early. And in the second half, young guys are making plays. And right here, Tristan Davis behind Ryan D'Imperio and the left side of that offensive line, made a cutback, made a play. And let's not forget this young man. It's going to be difficult for him to make a team, Ari. And it's a cliche, but it's true. All these guys are trying to put their best foot forward on tape. There are 32 teams evaluating all this tape. Every team has a guy that's ahead of college scouting and ahead of pro scouting. So the guy that has the pro scouting department in every team is assigning grades to every player in the league. And if he doesn't make a practice squad, he wants to be signed by somebody. Great job, Tristan.
Nate Whitaker will handle this kickoff. It'll be Baldwin for the Seahawks. Tries to get to the outside and forced out of bounds.
Devin Torrance.
Yes, a rookie out of Ohio State, former baseball player. 2:03 to go in this one. The Vikings defense, Mike, has held Seattle on their last 8 possessions because, it got to 13-7 very early in the third quarter. And the defense hung in there, got tough for their defensive coordinator, Fred Puggich. And there are some of the guys relaxing right now after a hard night's work.
This quarterback in the game, Portis, for these guys, had a huge game a week and a half ago against San Diego, rallied them to a victory. Undrafted free agent from Cal, Pennsylvania. Gifted kid.
Portis throws and he completes the pass. Dominique Byrd makes the catch. We are at the 2-minute warning, which comes with 1:58 to go in this one. The Vikings leading the Seahawks 20-7. A complete performance tonight, and the Vikings will finish it off when we come back to Seattle. Wired sound all season long at Vikings.com, and Lorenzo Booker has done a nice job. He's had interesting things to say, lots of enthusiasm. Portis, a little too much on that throw, looking for the tight end, Byrd.
Here's what I learned tonight. If you want to wire somebody, just go find a Florida State player because they can all puff. I mean, I work with Deion Sanders. Deion could go all night long. This guy, I think he set the record tonight for wired appearances on a Viking. I'm serious.
I think he has. That's accurate. Christian Ponder, another FSU guy, probably not quite as chatty as Lorenzo.
No.
All right, 3rd and short here for Josh Portis and the Seahawks. And Portis throws, completes it to Byrd, and it will be a first down for the Seahawks.
Yeah, this kid Portis is interesting. He's a big kid with a big arm. He played at several high schools, several colleges, which is why he didn't get drafted. However, his natural ability is fairly obvious.
Portis going further down the field, almost picked off Tony Carter. And he's definitely flashed here in the fourth quarter.
I'm telling you, this is what it's all about in the preseason. In the evaluation phase, out of nowhere, Sherrill steps up. Carter, bottom of your screen again. Gets beat a little bit, but undercuts the route. I didn't like the beginning of it because he didn't get his hands on him, but he recovered, undercut the route. I'd love to see him finish that with an interception, though. Very vanilla defensively week 1 and 2. I think that will change drastically week 1 against San Diego.
Portis. And that is incomplete.
They're better off with that being dropped.
Yep, Vitale, the intended target. So just a minute, 19 seconds to go. Week 2 of the preseason. Fred Pugic, I'd be pleased. His team defensively really solid. The goal line stand, certainly for me, along with the Sherrills, those were the 2 highlights defensively for the Vikings. And they got a lot of good pressure on the ones for Seattle. Tavares Jackson often had to get out of the pocket. Portis up the field. Baldwin can't make the catch.
Cord Parks, another guy that flashed for me tonight. A couple of really key tackles at the line of scrimmage. There's Darrell Bevel, one of the really good guys in this league. Former offensive coordinator, of course, for your Minnesota Vikings. Darrell and Tavares Jackson, I believe, are now tied at the hip going forward.
Yep. 4th and 10. Portis, all kinds of time. Now he's got to scramble. A good athlete. He's going to try to run for the first down, and he picks up the first down. Clock continues to tick. The Seahawks have 2 timeouts left. And now Seattle has used the timeout with 1 minute and 3 seconds to go. So now they have 1 timeout remaining. There's Tavares Jackson. And you mentioned, I thought you had a really nice thought that he's a guy that you want to root for because he handled some really difficult situations with the Vikings with class.
And I think sometimes that goes underappreciated.
Yep.
You know, he was the good soldier. And I think it's being rewarded a little bit now by Pete Carroll, who shows him a different type of leadership style. Not better or worse, just different. And it might fit this player. We talked about Donovan last year in Washington not fitting perhaps the Shanahan style. Well, maybe Tavares Jackson in Seattle will be the right fit with Pete Carroll.
1st and 10 for the Seahawks. Portis will scramble. Tremaine Johnson couldn't get to him, and Portis still on his feet.
Got to get out of bounds.
Yeah.
I mean, great run. Really good effort, but get out of bounds.
Clock now under 50 seconds and counting.
I mean, he just gave up 20 seconds on this by not taking the easy step out of bounds.
Portis going down the field, and that's incomplete. Adingapu, the safety, came over to help out the corner, Tony Carter.
You know, you could go up and down this roster and look at some of these young guys that flashed tonight. You know, on the defensive side, Sherrills, Tony Carter. I thought Chris Cook played a lot better this week than last week. The tailback, Tristan Davis, comes in late, and what's he doing his first carry? Bang, touchdown. Up and down this young group. Much more positive night than last week.
Better energy right from the outset of the game. Really came in here a determined bunch, and it shows on the scoreboard, and it'll certainly show on the tape. Portis down the field looking for Bird. That was a terrific throw, but Bird couldn't make the catch.
Ryan Hill makes a hit. Can't you tell when Portis throws the football there's some natural ability there? Yeah.
No, he could spin it. That was a great throw. So now just 23 seconds to go in the game. Again, next week the Vikings play at home at the Metrodome, Saturday night, 7 o'clock.
The Dallas Cowboys come to town,
yes.
Aren't they? I'm going to see them play in Dallas tomorrow night against San Diego. Looking forward to that.
Portis on 3rd and 10. He's going to scramble, get the first down and more. He again doesn't elect to get to the sideline and get out of bounds, so Seattle forced to use their final timeout with 14 seconds remaining. Now the NFC North, arguably, Mike, the best division in football right now. And last year the Vikings, things didn't go their way. They finish in a tie with Detroit. But, you know, this division, it's just going to be hard to predict. You know Green Bay is going to be pretty solid as long as Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. But you know, it wouldn't shock me if part of this division flip-flops. It's just so hard to know going into the season because of the war of attrition with guys getting hurt and how physical that division is.
Green Bay, defending Super Bowl champion. Chicago at 11-5. I thought Mike Tice did a great job with their offensive line, which I still think needs to be developed. I think the team, if they can get healthy, and they've had the injury bug so far in camp, is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
They've got an awful lot of ability. Mikel LaSure, the tailback, went down fairly. The defensive tackle got hurt. If they're healthy, they're going to be difficult to deal with.
And Mike, they just need Matthew Stafford to stay healthy. That's been the real problem for them.
Awesome. I thought that kid's had a pretty good game, too.
Yep, he's flashed as well. So now just 10 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. There is number 5, Donovan McNabb, who will be the starter week 1 in San Diego. And he certainly gives the Viking fans and the Vikings organization a belief that this team is capable of doing something this year and being a playoff team. And number 5 has been to the playoffs many times in his career, 7 times out of 12 years.
They have 4 or 5 NFC championship games, 1 Super Bowl appearance.
Portis going to scramble again and forced out of bounds. And also, he's at a stage in his career, I mean, he always had great leadership skills, but with this team that's trying to sort of win while they redevelop this team, because there's some great veterans, there's a lot of youth, and this is a guy who has a great locker room presence.
He does, and he's got 2 young quarterbacks that if he puts his best foot forward, not only can he help this be a good football team, but he can help the development of 2 young quarterbacks. You know, the first-round pick, Christian Ponder, taken at number 12. Joe Webb, who I've got to believe they're going to develop a Wildcat package for, regardless of what happens the rest of the preseason, because he just presents such a dangerous opportunity for the offense to take advantage of. Delay of game. Is that a runoff?
You know, Mike, when you think about having a Wildcat package with Donovan as your starter, you think back to when Donovan was the same age as Joe Webb. The thought of you would never take Donovan out in those situations because Donovan was such a great guy with the football and his ability to run the football. But I'm sure at 34, he wouldn't mind if Joe Webb takes a couple hits when they get down.
The best Wildcat quarterback in the league the last few years has been Brad Smith, who was with the Jets, now with Buffalo. Why? Because he could throw the ball just well enough to keep you honest, and I think that's what Joe Webb is.
And Portis will go down, and that's your ball game. The Minnesota Vikings defeat the Seattle Seahawks 20-7. And the Vikings will make the trip home. Mike Mayock, nice job by you. Have a safe trip to Dallas, and we'll see you in the Twin Cities on the weekend.
Looking forward to it, pal. Really good effort by the Vikings. I thought they were extremely aggressive tonight, well coached. I like what the first group did. I really like watching some of the young kids make plays at the end of the game.
Thank you for watching Minnesota Vikings preseason football on the Vikings Entertainment Network. 1 week from tonight, the Vikings will be at home for a battle with the Cowboys. Game time is set for 7 p.m. Central. For my partners, Mike Mayock and Eric Perkins, and all the hardworking men and women who help put on this broadcast, I am Ari Wolf signing off. Local news is up next on Care 11, and you can catch all the live Vikings press conferences at Vikings.com. Have a great night, everybody.